Hey, Sue Wong. Thank you so much for inviting Jimmy and I here for the weekend.
Ron Russell, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. You're hilarious.
Well, I hope so. But anyway, I'm cooking an incredible Italian meal today for us for lunch, which is my way of saying thank you, Sue, for having us for the weekend. But you know what? I read somewhere that when you were a kid, you ate rat. Is that true?
Yes, it is really notoriously true, because in this great land of abundance here in America, we don't know how, other people live and exist in the world, but I was born right into the communist revolution, and basically we had to really eat rats to survive. My little beloved grandmother used to really chase rats around the house just so that I would have some protein in my belly.
That is such an incredible story. You should make a movie or write a book about it.
I am. It's called The Red Lotus.
No, seriously, because your life has been quite a life. A little girl comes here from communist China. She plays with paper dolls and becomes one of the top designers of the most elegant wear that a woman could wear. I compare you to Valentino, maybe even better.
Well, thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. I've been at my craft for such a long time, and I really love fashion. It was just so glamorous, and I think maybe it really was that life of scarcity that really prompted me to really pursue a life of fashion and glamour.
Okay, personal question, but nobody's going to hear this but you and I. Where did you get the money from to start the business? And you had to buy fabric, you had to have cutters and sewers. Where'd that money come from?
I worked my ass off.
Doing what? In your uncle's Chinese restaurant?
Yes, I've been working since I was 8 years old, but and I've been really designing fashion professionally since I was 19 years old. I'm a design school dropout. I basically went to the equivalent of maybe 3 or 4 months of fashion school, and then I was offered because I had won a first place scholarship that was sponsored by the biggest company in Los Angeles at the time, and it was hip and happening contemporary fashion. The head designer offered me an apprenticeship, and she gave me a job. And I was 19 years old, and I was just thrilled. And I've been rolling up my sleeves and working ever since then.
Well, you're a woman I respect a lot because you're a remarkable lady.
Thank you.
You were in a man's world, and you fought it, and you became the superstar that you are, and you're worth millions of dollars, which is good. Now, you don't want to quit. Now you're buying homes in California, in Los Angeles, and you're designing them. And these are Sue Wong designer homes.
That's quite true.
You know what, I'm going to have to get a bowl for my salad. While we talk,
Okay.
So get me a bowl.
Okay.
Let's get a bowl. Excuse us, we have to find the bowl. In this enormous house in Malibu. The ocean I'm looking at, right through this big wall of glass, and I see the waves coming. It's just the most beautiful place to be. We're in Malibu, California.
Here we are.
Well, we're only 4, that's good. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
So yes, I've been living in Malibu off and on for about 4 decades, and this is my 3rd home here. And it's really actually my favorite just because of this immense ocean view that I have here. And honestly, when I first bought this house, Ron, it was utterly the most horrible, grotesque, ugly duckling house I had ever seen. But I used my design know-how and I transformed it from an ugly duckling to a beautiful swan at this point.
Well, your art, not the kind of art. I'm a French
Impressionist,
romantic art. I love Toulouse-Lautrec. I love Monet. But your art is full of color.
Well, see, the thing is, Ron.
Tell the camera. I'm going to go do my work.
I mean, basically, Ron, I'm a person or a woman of many different dimensions, and I dwell on many different planes. So, I keep myself very open because I think to be a good artist and to be well-rounded, you really have to be receptive to all different levels of creation. So, my tastes really run from the romantic, such as what you said, but I'm not restricted to that. I love the modernists, I love the cubists, I love German Expressionism. I love Russian avant-garde. You know, I love all of it.
Well, you love art, period.
You know, my only prerequisite is that it has to be excellent. It has to be all very high level for me to really appreciate it. But you know, my environment here, I call this the art house, ARTHAUS, in the German manner, like Bauhaus, but this is art house. And you know, so I have, I've been collecting modern art for, you know, almost 35 years or so. And a lot of the art that you see here are really my contemporaries. They're all my best friends as artists, because I started off at the Andrews Hardware Building, which is this, you know, fabulous 1923 Egyptian deco monument.
Oh, I love Egyptian deco. That's what we have.
Yes, so that's where I started my business, and it was a, you know, it was a 4-story building, historical, that was restored by Billy L. Bankston, who's a pretty big, you know, LA artist, and about 4 of his cohorts, and so they were all artist studios. So I was really surrounded by artists, and they all became my best friends, and that's, you know, the result of this collection is a.
So your collection is worth a lot of money, right?
No, I don't really operate on money. You know, I never operate on money, you know. So I operate on what touches
You know,
my
I love
heart.
you.
Thank you, I love
I
you
think
too.
you are the sweetest person I've ever met. You know, everybody out there, some people think she's a phony and a show-off and a name dropper. You know what? You're all nuts. Sue Wong is probably one of the most down-to-earth human beings I've met. I couldn't be friends with her if she was full of shit and a phony. I couldn't be her friend because, you know, I dislike phony people.
I think I'm
You
very
know what?
down to earth.
Sweetie pie, I need a great cheese grater.
Okay.
See, she's my assistant. For those of you out there that are wondering what I've made, I pre-made this in my house in Palm Springs. I wish Beverly Hills. And for our salad is ground up Genoa salami, romaine lettuce, olives, and pepperoncini. And now I'm putting around Romano cheese.
Looks fabulous.
And it's a very interesting salad because what we say in Italian is if you're not hungry, after this salad, you'll be ravenously hungry.
Yeah, so getting back to
Yes.
what you were saying, I think I'm very down to earth because of my peasant upbringing and really my humble roots, which started in China right at the beginning of the Maoist revolution. I went through all the purges there. You know, people were executed. You know, I think the world does not know this, but Mao, between the revolution of the proletariat, between the Cultural Revolution, the Great Leap Forward, I think he killed probably close to 200 million people. And the world doesn't know this, you know, but it's an outrage. And, you know, so I grew up under communism, I grew up under scarcity, and I think it became, you know, this sort of, more of a glamorous icon because, you know, that scarcity. I think that's what really drove me to really go towards achievement and accomplishment in life. You know, it was really from not having anything, not having any dolls to play with.
No, but you had paper dolls, that's what you said.
I made my own paper dolls.
Oh, you made your own?
I made my own paper dolls, and then I began to, this is really the genesis of my fashion career. When I was, 7 or 8 years old, since I'm the daughter of struggling immigrants, we had no budget in the family for any toys or frivolities. So I would really draw my own paper dolls, and then I began to create these lavish wardrobes for them. And so, it was all sort of this Cinderella fantasy that really got me started. And later on, I actually wanted to, pursue a career in art because I was born a creative artist. And I wanted to be a painter, but my parents...
What did you want to be?
I wanted to be a painter. I wanted to be a fine artist. But, that is really probably tantamount to really being a pauper or a beggar in the Chinese, society. So my parents never supported that. So, you know, they wouldn't finance my art education. So I just really went into fashion as a sideline. And by the time, I was, 19 years old, I was designing professionally. By the time I was 20, 21, I had my own one-of-a-kind boutique stores in bohemian Venice, California, when Venice was very, very bohemian. And then, you know, in glamorous Hollywood, where I dressed a lot of very famous stars, such as Bianca Jagger. Bianca Jagger, who was married to Mick Jagger at the time. They had just gotten married, you know, shortly, after I met her, or before I met her, rather. And she walked into my boutique store in West Hollywood, and she said, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that. And she ended up basically cleaning me out and buying practically everything that I had in my one-of-a-kind.
And I bet you were thrilled to death.
I was thrilled to death, but she still hit me up for a 25% discount.
Well, listen, she wore your clothes. What kind of an ass?
Yes,
now, listen, I'm going to ask you
true.
a question.
Yes.
I asked Jane Russell this question in my interview with my buddy Jane.
Yes.
What do you think of fashion and people the way they look today? And Jane Russell said to me, horrible. They wear ripped dungarees that cost a fortune. They have their hair all awful, and they look dreadful.
Well, I think, I think I actually agree with Jane, except it's gotten so much worse, since her time. I think I was born probably in the wrong age because, my favorite period in Hollywood was really the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, but if you were born in 1930, today you'd be 35. I want to just show my salad. There's my salad, folks. It's going to go on the table. I'll let soup entertain you while I put this on the table.
It looks lovely. I can hardly wait.
I'm
famished, But anyway, I think today's Hollywood culture, except for my gorgeous model Eugenia, who really is joining us for today, she is somebody who really understands the language of glamour. But then she comes from Europe, so she has that European elegance and refinement and sense of style, which I think Hollywood really lacks because, you basically, I think there's too much reality with movie stars and with stars in general today because they look like they just rolled out of bed, no makeup, no hair, no sensibility, no style. And, they lack the fantasy element, which the 1920s, 30s, 40s, even 50s had. Because if you're a movie star, you should really look like one and not look like,
Well, you look like a movie star.
Well, thank you.
Did you ever think of doing a movie? Well, you've been in movies.
I have been in movies. I was in the Jade Pendant. And then I was in my friend Vincent DePaul's movie, A Beverly Hills Christmas, where I basically had a very challenging role, by the way.
What was it?
I played myself.
Oh, that could be, don't laugh, that could be very challenging. I play myself often, and it stinks.
Does it? So anyway, my whole mantra, excuse me, my whole mantra is all about beauty, magic, and transformation. So what I create is beauty, and the beauty, the alchemy of beauty is magical, and that sense of magic has the power to transform. So, when a woman puts on a Wong gown, she just turns into this glamorous goddess. And by the same token, when, someone walks into one of my glamorous houses, be it my own or be it the ones that I'm designing, they're just really transformed into this glamorous, healing, gorgeous environment. So that's basically the healing work that I do, and it's all done through the language of beauty. And art.
A break from Sue for a minute. What I'm making here now is a spaghetti carbonara, my style, with peas, butter, and bacon and onion. You saute this for a while. This is your sauce. You throw this over linguine. Of course, you add cream to it. It's the most delicious meal you'll ever want to eat.
It's probably about 2,500 calories per bite.
Yeah, but you know what? In Italy, nobody's fat. Only the Italians here are fat.
And
In
why is
Italy,
that?
they eat a big middle day. Their noon meal is the big one. At night, they eat very little, and they don't have bread and cake after their meals. They just simply, eat. Here in America, we have 3 courses. One is fattening, the next one is more fattening, and the last one is dessert, which is extremely
ultra fattening.
Ultra fattening. I'm going over to the stove now. I will let Sue continue entertaining you.
Yes. So anyway, I've had
the stove?
right there. I've had this really wonderful life, and it's really been all about magic. And I just really want everybody to understand that, if you really have dreams, you have to really adhere to your vision of what you want to manifest. And I think I've been a really great manifester of my own dreams, so you have to really have the clarity of thought, the clarity of vision, and the courage to really follow your own dreams. So, one of my favorite heroes, which I've really read quite a lot of his books, is Joseph Campbell. And he always said, you have to really follow your own bliss. You have to really be true to yourself. And so I did. And so now I'm living my dreams. Right, Ron?
Well, honey,
I said, now I followed my bliss, so I'm living my dreams.
I think you've been living your dream for a few years.
Yes.
I don't think it's right now. You live in that wonderful. She lives in a mansion that when the first time I've been in big houses. I've been in Playboy Bunny Club, Howard Hughes' house, and Greystone, which is a fabulous mansion. And when I went to Sue's house, oh my God, my eyes fell out. I walked into a 40 by 30 living room maybe, with sofas all over and a gorgeous fireplace. And then we were house guests for the weekend and we slept in a bedroom to drop dead from. I couldn't even sleep because I said, Jimmy, don't turn off the light. I gotta look. Every color, every tassel, every pillow. It was so me. I'm not a contemporary person.
Well, actually, you walked right into the Jimi Hendrix.
The Jimi Hendrix?
So, yeah,
I gotta go back to my stove. Tell me about
Okay,
Jimmy.
all right. I have 3 homes, and I call them body, mind, and spirit. Right now, we're filming in my Malibu house, which is all contemporary with mid-century iconic pieces of furniture. And they're very sculptural, and they really complement my modern art collection, which I've been collecting for about 35 years. And then, in addition to that, I have this ultra glamorous Hollywood iconic home called the Cedars, which was built in the 1920s by a French incredible artist, visionary artist by the name of Maurice Tournier. And he worked for the MGM boys, and that's why over 6 of my fireplaces, I have the iconic MGM lions mounted. And so let me just really, be a little bit of a name dropper, and I'll tell you who really lived there. It's probably Hollywood's most historical home. It's also known as the Norma Talmadge Estate, and Norma Talmadge was the first, she was the preeminent movie star of the 1920s. And as a matter of fact, her husband, who lived in the Cedars, that's the name of my home, with her is Joe Schenck, and he was the founder of the 20th Century Fox Studios. So they would really entertain their friends. Their best friends were basically Cecil B. DeMille, Charlie Chaplin, Mary Pickford.
Valentino was in your house?
Yes, Mary Pickford, and Sir Douglas Fairbanks. So, Sir Douglas Fairbanks, Mary Pickford, Charlie Chaplin, and Norma and her husband Joe Schenck, they basically later founded 20th Century Fox, studios together. And then after them, there was Match Bellamy, and after that, there was Bela Lugosi and Errol Flynn.
And then came Johnny Depp.
Well, no, Johnny Depp was much later, so I have to, finish the story.
You know what, you tell it. I'm cooking. I'm leaving it up to Susie.
So Howard Hughes lived there, circa 1930s, early 30s. And, his favorite room was the solarium, where he kept this, grand piano. And none other than a struggling young opera singer delivered that piano to him at the Cedars, and the name of that piano deliverer was a starving, struggling opera singer by the name of Mario Lanza. So after Howard Hughes, and there was Errol Flynn and Bela Lugosi, who was really at the height of his fame with that whole Dracula persona. And actually, because Bela Lugosi had lived there, Johnny Depp came to live there decades later when he was making Tim Burton's movie called Ed Wood, which was in part about Bela Lugosi, who was really played by, of all people, Martin Landau. And this is really the connection here, okay? So I dressed Martin Landau's fiance for the Oscars when he won, Best Supporting Actor. And then the other flip side is that Johnny Depp, who used to live at my mansion, his best friend is Marilyn Manson, and I hung out with Marilyn Manson at the Cedars for a few months. So it was really kind of interesting how everything kind of goes around in a circle and everything is connected in a sense.
Okay, so that's your past. Let's talk about Sue Wong.
No, I'm not finished yet. I'm not finished
Well, I'm
yet.
going to go back to my frying pan.
Yeah, you go back to your frying pan for just a few minutes, because I've got to tell them about the illustrious, rock history of the Cedars, because the Cedars is really a pedigree rock palace, not for just really rock stars. These were rock gods, as a matter of fact. So in the 1960s, it became this rock palace, and you had the likes of Jim Morrison of the Doors, you had Jimi Hendrix, you had Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground, you had Bob Dylan, you had John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas, you had Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones, and then if you remember that iconic movie of the hip generation, it was called Easy Rider. And Easy Rider was basically filmed at the Cedars by Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda. And I had a screening for the 50th anniversary of Easy Rider, and I had invited, well, Dennis Hopper was already gone, but I invited, Peter Fonda, and he apologized for not being able to come, but he was actually in his deathbed, and he really wanted to come to see the glorious Cedars again, but he just really was not. So anyway, I bought it about 18 years ago, and I basically refurbished everything. I restored the beautiful, iconic artwork. I transformed 6 ceilings, and all the frescoes, all the decoupage. It's just a glorious palace. It's not a home. I think it's really a temple. It's an iconic temple of old Hollywood glamour.
And when you're in it, you feel so important. You want to dress beautifully because everyone that attends her fabulous parties, by the way, she has rock groups performing in that living room. That's how big it is. I mean, Ron Moss sings in that, and everybody.
Scott Page
plays his saxophone with Pink Floyd. It's a room packed with great musicians and great people. I've met some interesting people at Sue's parties. I love Sue's parties because I like the parties I used to go to 30, 40 years ago, when everybody that was in Beverly Hills lived chic and elegantly, and we all dressed for each other's dinner parties.
Yes, I mean, women turn out very elegantly in their gowns, for a formal dinner party, it was New Year's or a very special occasion. Men show up in their tuxedos, and they're always glamorous affairs, and I was told nobody has Hollywood parties like I do.
Not anymore, baby. That's why I have this fabulous involvement with Sue Wong. Facebook watchers, we're not getting married, we're not in love. So stop that rumor that I'm romancing Sue on Facebook.
You're already a married man anyway.
Well, I could get divorced if you want.
Then Jimmy is going to come after me with a shotgun.
No, he won't. Jimmy's only interested in money. He only wants to make money. No, but Sue, if I was single and straight, guess what? I'd be after you big time.
Oh boy,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
She's a beautiful woman. You're going to
Thank
see her
you.
in person. She's got flawless skin. She's not wrinkled or sagging or anything. She's like a young girl. She looks about 45 in person.
Thank you.
I mean, she's really 112, but she looks good. I got to go back. I don't want to burn my bacon.
Okay, great. Do we have enough, Jimmy? Jimmy? Ron, do we have enough? Or you want me to keep on going?
Let me end it here. Oh, I want to end with what? Let me go here. Here we
Wow,
go, folks.
look at that.
There
Oh
are
my
peas,
God.
onions, and bacon, and onions, bacon, and peas. You saute it in butter. Now you add cream to it, and then you dump it over the linguine. It must be eaten immediately, otherwise it gets weird looking. But it's smell that. Is that not divine?
Absolutely wonderful.
I'm so hungry. So
I'm
we're going to wait now.
starving.
We're going to go to the table, and you're going to meet Grace Kelly's sister, twin sister, Eugenia Kuzmina, probably one of the most beautiful women in the world. And I'm not bullshitting you. Wait
No,
till you see
I
her.
can vouch for that because Eugenia has been modeling for me for about 6 years. And of all things, I discovered her and she discovered me, you know, as a mutual admiration fan club immediately at the Doris Berkman Luxury Lounge. Is a gifting, you know, suite for the Emmys, I believe. And we just really went through another one of these, and Eugenia is as gorgeous and as elegant as ever. So I'm so honored to have her at my home today, along with you, Ron, and you know, my dear friend
Jimmy's
Jimmy
not on
Starr.
camera because he's the cameraman. But I'm going to ask Jimmy to come on and say hi. Jimmy, come over here. You're allowed. I'm not paying you, but you're allowed.
And you're not even paying me.
Well, because you
Hi,
know what?
everybody.
You got more money than God. What the frig am I going to give you?
We're at Sue Wong's house in Malibu, and it's fabulous, and we're getting ready to eat.
And
Yes.
we love Sue Wong.
I love
Absolutely.
you. I love you guys. These are
We
two
are
of my
wonderful
favorite.
buddies. Great
they're-
buddies.
These are two of my favorite men.
Yes. Now we're going to the table, and you'll see the finished pasta dish.
Sounds fabulous,
Here we go.
and it smells wonderful.
It is. It is. Here we go. Hey.
Because the roughage pushes everything through. So.
Okay, well, I trust you.
No, my salad dressing will make an appetite. That's why I have it on the side. Otherwise, I'll eat everything myself. Honey, can you handle it?
So
Yes.
how's your movie coming?
Now
you know,
the-
I put it on hold just because of this whole thing with China. You
Oh,
know,
yes.
You know,
I don't know if it needs salt or pepper.
Well, it looks fabulous. It smells even
Yeah.
fine.
Needs
What
salt.
what exactly is happening in China that makes you...
Well, because China has become the enemy. They basically released the coronavirus onto the world.
Oh, yeah, totally, yeah.
You know, with
course.
Fauci.
Depends on who you talk to.
The pasta needs salt.
Hang on, I'll
I
find
don't, I
some.
don't salt anything.
No, I'm okay because I like low salt.
Yeah, I wonder what will happen. So for you, it's kind of hard because the production is connected to China or no? I mean, you can't
No,
blame everybody for it.
it's just that, you know, there's too many anti-Chinese sentiments right now in America. And, you know, China has really stopped distributing any movies from America. So now's not the time because there's a Cold War going on between China and the U.S. Your husband will tell you that.
No, I know. I mean, he tried to work with China for a little while, but the problem is they want to control 80% of, you know, where it's shot and like who has, and it's really hard for American filmmakers
And
to...
it has to suit their propaganda.
Yeah.
Eugenia, in your interview,
Yeah.
is it all right to ask how you met your husband? Did we discuss
Yeah,
it?
no, you can ask me anything.
We don't hide. We don't hide.
No, I talk about it on stage. So.
Oh, you know, big shots like that, they don't like to be exposed.
No, I say he
Yeah, put
you
some
know,
on it, otherwise it doesn't.
got 10
nothing.
composites of girls from Ford
Now,
Models.
were you a Russian war bride?
War bride, I'm always a war bride.
Were you
I was married before.
oh, you weren't a mail order bride?
No,
You were
I
married
actually-
before?
Yeah, I was married before to a really not good person, to a mafia guy, you know. And
Oh my
he
God.
just called me and he said, I have a dress. I was 18, yes.
Wow, you're 18.
Yeah, he called me and he said, I have a dress and I have a private jet. will you come and marry me? And I was on the phone and I said, okay. Really thinking about it.
Well, what else? You know what?
This was in Russia?
No, in Paris. So I lived in
My
Paris.
daughter
since
Leslie
16.
was
Yeah.
first runner-up in Miss America. She was Miss Long Island, Miss New York.
Oh,
My
wow.
daughter Leslie could be your twin.
Oh, wow.
I'll show you a picture of her.
Yes, please.
My daughter could be
Mention
your
that.
sister. My wife was a model, Hendrika, and she was Dutch. So the Dutch and Italian made two beautiful children.
Yeah, of course.
I told my daughter all the time, Leslie, marry a man with money. Because his money and your beauty, he's after your beauty, you go after his money. Don't you give your beauty to some poor slob that's gonna put you in a dump and you're gonna get fat, old, and ugly.
Actually, you know, me and my husband we have a prenup, so I'm not there for the money. I actually.
A man's wealth is a woman's beauty.
Yeah, and intelligence and humor, and we have a lot
The
of
humor, you have a lot of humor.
I think intelligence is number one.
You like the husband you married or not? You like him?
Yeah, I mean, he's very smart and I mean, he has.
So I'm not. This is Italian meals with all eatings.
Oh, you don't want to tape this? I did tape it.
You're taping now?
Yeah.
Where's the camera?
There's a,
I didn't know.
We can't use any of this anyway, but we'll just let her
No, we
know.
can use it. It's all good.
You can't talk
So
about she has a
Yeah,
prenup.
my dear. Now, you escaped communist Russia. What was it like living in communist Russia?
well, first of all, you're probably one of the first people who makes me eat pasta on camera. Like, you can ask your friends, it never happened before.
She said we were one of the first people who would make her eat pasta on camera. She's a supermodel. They don't eat pasta.
Listen,
Get
I knew
exposed.
Ina Boltok. I used to do her hair. You know who Ina Boltok was? The
I
greatest
think-
model on the Clairol bottle, bleach bottle.
Oh, yes.
She came into
That's still way
I-
before her
I
time.
worked in Sutton Place for La Jolie Femme, a very chic beauty salon. And I was a hairstylist,
Yeah.
colorist. And I did Sarah Tom, and I did another one, the beauty. Oh my God, I think she was from Russia also.
You
Can't think of her name.
know she's like 25 years old. She doesn't
No,
know
models,
any people.
I research history, I like
models know
history.
model history. These women,
They do.
Ina Boltok was one. Sarah Tom, that's who I did. It was on the Clara bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah Tom is an internationally famous model for years. And I remember when she came in the beauty salon, she went under the dryer and she had a hard-boiled egg.
Oh, yes, yeah, of course.
And I said, Sarah, I got a nice salami sandwich on my thing. You want to share it with me? She said, oh, no. And she go like this.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I can relate to your conversation with Sue. I was listening earlier because coming from nothing definitely makes you very grateful and, you know, kind of challenges you to learn more about different cultures and be more open-minded. But it's interesting because my dad was a nuclear scientist, so it has nothing to do with fashion. He was
Wow.
the first responder to Chernobyl
Wow.
disaster.
Are
So
we picking this up because we're very far away? I think we want to, oh, we're here. Okay. Just to make sure.
yeah, so the beauty of growing up with with my dad was we were always surrounded by amazing artists like Evgeny Yevtushenko, all the poets and sculptors, and I kind of
Bohemian.
very bohemian because
My type of people.
yes, exactly. So I think that's how I completely understand you. Just like absorbing everything in the sponge as a child. Of course, it is very inspiring. My dad is a huge inspiration. And a lot of scientists are very open-minded. They're not, married to something. If you have to discover something new, like you have to have a really
So where'd you
great
marry
mind.
the first one, in Russia?
No, in Paris, but that was a mistake.
My favorite
What happens
city
in
in the
Paris?
She got married in Paris, everybody out there.
Stays in Paris.
Paris, who gets married in Paris?
Now, were you modeling then?
I was,
in Las
yes.
Vegas.
How old were you when you started modeling?
So I was discovered in Russia by one of few designers in Russia at the time. His name is Slava Zaitsev. I think kind of you have a little bit of a similar. He likes theatrical, very glamorous. I was discovered at 13. I was on all the
13.
covers and was very lucky. And then at 15, I was shipped to Paris to start modeling
You
there.
poor thing, shipped to Paris at 15. My heart bleeds for you.
Actually,
Look at my
many,
clothes, she's very soft-spoken.
Many models started when they were about
I know,
11
Minnie
years
as
old.
well.
11 years old.
I had it.
Do you remember Brandeis, my model, for about 13 years?
Yeah.
My daughter was 16 when
she-
she won all those awards.
She started modeling when she was 11 years old.
Wow.
And she's from Saskatchewan, Canada, which is really the boondocks.
Yeah, I have to show them Leslie's picture in your phone. You have the one of her when she worked for Chris. You know Chris Makos, the photographer? He was very big 20, 30 years ago.
She was like not even born.
She wasn't even
No, but they know everybody in the business.
Yeah, it's
Sue
interesting.
Wong wasn't born when Abraham Lincoln was around, but she knows who Abraham Lincoln is, right, Sue?
Well,
Yes, but I don't even remember some of the people you're mentioning, though.
Fashion has a changeable aspect to
Yes.
it, and there's always like
Always.
in and out of fashion
Always.
things. But what I
Always.
love about it is some classical things. If you have an aesthetic for, you say like beauty, or it's just organically timeless.
Who do you favor, your father or your mother or both?
Oh God.
What was your mother? Was she Russian also?
So my mom was also a scientist, and they met. And in Russia at the time, it was very hard because you have to spend a lot of times waiting in food lines. So she abandoned her career to raise us, and she gave us amazing education. I went to music school, was a professional ice skater, was a tennis
I
player.
was also, I skated.
Yeah, amazing.
You were a tennis player?
Yes, I was
He
serving
was.
balls to Evgeny Kafelnikov, who was a
You have to play with Jimmy. He was semi-pro.
Oh yeah, I played golf and tennis. So
Well,
anytime.
that's so cool. I
please.
haven't played tennis in a long time, but
It's a fun game.
yeah, it was good. I was like top
Well, I'll make it when I
top 40 in Florida.
Oh my God,
in
that's
Florida, and
incredible.
Florida's a good state, so
Wow,
like
yes.
I was
You
good.
bit me. That.
But I haven't played in years, but it's fun.
And
And I was a
that's-
clothing designer for 20 years.
That's fun. That's amazing. I mean, I think tennis is such a game. Like it makes you so present in the moment. Which reminds
Not my
me
very
about
best.
anything. Like if you're present in the
And
moment.
I'm not
you
really
can-
good at team sports.
Yeah,
Pork
really.
bellies don't do it.
You know, when you play tennis, you win or lose, it's all up
Yeah.
to you.
For sure.
You know, and unless you play doubles, which I played doubles too, but I had a good partner.
But very harsh.
But I have a thing
Northern
about
Italian eating
like
is very,
big team
very
sports because I always feel like everybody else
soft
doesn't.
and sort of
It's not as
kind
important to
play.
them as it is to me.
Sure.
And that they don't pull their own weight.
My
So like, if
father
I'm gonna
was
lose, I
in
want to
general.
lose
My
on my
mother's
own
family.
accord,
For sure.
and not let
Wait,
somebody
what's
else
your
lose it for
sign?
me.
What's your sign?
I'm a Libra.
Are you a Libra?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. All or nothing. Perfection.
Yes, so I'm kind of like that, and I'm kind of like that way in everything.
I lived
Yeah,
in
no, it's
Italy
great.
for
I
a
think,
year.
any talented person I know can do
My father
any
sent
kind
me
of
there
skill,
to
right?
do
Like how you do
that.
one thing is how you do everything.
That's
So
right.
It's
I
definitely.
wasn't there
I'm
10
pretty much
minutes
good at
before
everything
she
that I
was
try to do. I'm not good at everything.
Yeah.
The things that I don't do, but
Yeah.
tennis, I like love
Great.
it.
Well, next time we'll play.
Yeah, we have to play. It would be fun. I can't do golf though.
Yeah, he said, I'm
never
going
really
to
done
Italy,
golf.
we'll get straightened
I'm just
out.
starting
And
to
I
do
said,
it. It's sort of a
okay.
mental game as
So
well.
they put me on an
It's
ocean
all about
liner,
focus
and I sailed to Italy.
kind of coordination. And
Good for business though
I
too.
just come out of the
fantastic.
Navy.
Not a lot of women play, so I'm kind of breaking the rules.
Well, and you're not a dyke,
Yeah, I was in the Navy Reserves.
No.
because all the other golfer ladies are dykes. So that sets you
know,
apart.
All this rules to be broken.
That's a good rule though to break. I love it.
I should invite you. There's a great exhibit in Hammer. Actually, my husband is on the board of Hammer. It's called the Witch Hunt.
Oh, I know
So-
the Witch
Oh,
Hunt.
you do? So I think they're just.
I lived in Beverly Hills.
Oh, yeah.
So we used to go to the witch house. I used to go.
No, the
Witch
witch
Hunt.
hunt.
Oh, I thought
It's
it
an
was the witch
exhibit.
house.
No.
It's a lot of contemporary.
Angelina
art.
Jolie grew up in my house, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah.
She
I
lived
just-
on Roxbury, we lived on Spalding.
Yeah.
My daughter Deirdre and she went to elementary school together.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many times they called John Boyd and I up to school? My daughter Deirdre and
can
Angie are
imagine.
crazy kids. One time Deirdre got all her mother's makeup, took Angie under the sliding pond and painted her face red and she went into class. John and I had to go up. Another time, the school calls up, they said, your daughter and Angie Boyd put on pajamas and they're sitting at the desk and they will not get out of their pajamas. She was a nut, my daughter was crazy like her.
I love it. How else can you be creative?
Well, anyway,
Challenge your parents.
I know Angie growing up in Period because we lived in New York, we went back and
Yeah.
forth coast. When I tell you, at 15 years old, my daughter looked like an ironing board. No boobs, no butt, nothing. Deirdre was a tall, skinny, not a very attractive.
13, you said.
13, not a very attractive girl. Now we moved back to Beverly Hills. We're on Lasky. We rented a beautiful house. And Angie comes over to see Deirdre. She walks in the kitchen. I looked at her. I said, Angie, tits out to here, ass, face, lips, gorgeous at 15. Jesus Christ.
13.
Nobody looks like that at 13.
Of course.
And I said, Angie, you're magnificent. And I once said to her, do you want to be an actress? She said, I don't know. She's the shyest, sweetest girl in the world, the kindest.
Yeah.
She used to bring me little flowers that she picked from the lawn when she came
that's
to my
so
house.
sweet.
Here, Mr. My name is Serego. She'd say, "Here, Mr. Serego," and she'd give me a little flower.
Where did Russell come from?
Huh?
Where did Russell come from?
Jane. Jane Russell.
Oh, Jane Russell. Oh.
When I was 16, I saw Jane Russell and Marilyn Monroe in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. I was 14. I fell in love with Jane Russell, and my best friend Tommy fell in love with Marilyn Monroe. Years later, I was so happy to write in a publication. Marilyn Monroe, everybody wanted to go to bed with, but Jane Russell, everybody wanted to marry. That's the difference. I adored her. Jane and I had a love affair without sex that was incredible.
Jimmy, when you finish
Those are the
this
best.
week, can I have a second?
More?
Yes,
Are
you
you
can.
shitting? Of
It
course.
is so good.
I have to charge you
so
extra. No, it's 2 kisses. No, not those shitty kisses. Those are kisses you do to people you don't know.
You want more?
Maybe a few pieces of bacon?
Yeah.
So Eugenia, Jimmy and I have discussed you, and now that I know you can act and you remember lines, Jimmy produces really good movies, all multi-million-dollar movies. He doesn't produce shit that I'm in.
Well, Jimmy should.
I'm in $10 movies, which I
It's not about the
despise.
money.
I talked
think
with
it's
about
about
it to
the
Scott about
It
it.
is
A
about
little
that.
bit.
I talked to Scott about it.
Yeah, see, no.
And we're gonna get you in one of Jimmy's
Oh, yeah.
films. We're gonna cast
You're
you.
in it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great story, and I hope I can help with production as well.
Yeah, well, I mean,
We're gonna. I would like Sue Wong to play a part in my movie, The Gift of Magic.
Okay.
My character, who is a Jewish woman from Brooklyn, and she's a bookie, and she's married to me, a mafioso.
I was gonna say.
And it's,
No, you can't play the Jewish woman.
It's 1943, and we just found out that the Nazi Party is working in Brooklyn to blow up. Ooh, I can't give it away. Anyway,
Yes.
we have. Anyway, my character goes to this mysterious Chinese lady in Chinatown.
Okay, then I can play that part.
Yes.
No, but you know how they're going to dress you like the Empress of China.
It's okay, well, you know, that suits
She
me.
is, that's right. She is the Empress.
I was going to ask Nancy Kwan to do it, but I'd rather have you do it.
No, I can do that very easily, darling.
Okay. Anyway, my character goes there, and for a lot of money, she gives her the gift of magic, which I can't discuss right now on camera.
She'll
And the
tell you
story
what it is
unfolds.
afterwards.
We're looking for Susan Sarandon, Cher to be in it. Sean Kanan plays my son. So it's a wonderful cast. It's a good script. Everybody that reads it said it's fun. It's my
It's a
crazy
dark
humor.
comedy.
No, did
It's
you?
a dark comedy.
Did
That's
you
good.
write it?
I wrote it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When are you shooting? Are you like in
Well,
pre-production or still casting?
we're having difficulty booking a certain star, and if she's watching this, that star better move it or we're going to replace her. And she knows who she is, that star, who is a dear friend of mine who I really love. But working with her, it ain't easy.
Now we're working on. We have the script put together. We have 3 or 4 main cast people, but we still have to get a few more. And I'm working on putting the deck together. But to do the deck, I need to actually
And
have
Michelle
everyone-
What is
came
the
back
budget?
directing.
about $3 million.
People said to
Oh,
me,
you know, I
why
should
do-
connect you to my friend who's actually in Malibu now. We just finished a film with Bruce Willis. He does like that type. You
Sean
know?
just
What's
did.
his name?
Oh my God, Joel Shapiro.
Okay.
I like.
I was gonna say,
wait for a
'cause
second.
Sean
Sean just
Kanan
did a movie
finished
one with-
2
Why
films.
don't you invite him for brunch tomorrow?
Yeah, I invited him once. He came to a party, and you know, I wasn't here.
I'm going to, you know,
Yeah, of course.
brunch for my dear friend, so bring him.
You're going to cook with your little hands?
Yeah, hey, I'm a mean.
You know, I wrote
I
about
believe
her. I wrote on about Susie on Facebook. I said, "You're my little egg roll," and she said to me,
That's so
"You should have
sweet.
called me a fortune cookie. That's a little more understandable." And I wanted to
sharp
write.
ones.
I don't care for fortune cookies, but I love egg rolls, and that's why I called it my egg roll. I mean,
my
fortune
God.
cookie is I could live without. I'm a crepe. Don't I love egg rolls?
Yeah, he
Oh.
loves it.
You should do a one-man show because just listening to you
I
talking.
did it for
it's very-
45 years stand-up
He's one
comedy.
of the funniest people
I
I've
know
ever
you're
met.
so funny. Oh my God,
No, I did
naturally.
for 45 years. I did stand-up comedy all over the
Jimmy,
country.
I'm sure
That's
it's been
amazing.
an
I'd have to come back.
I'm in the, I'm in
No,
the,
it's very entertaining. And,
I am in the business
you know,
64
it's fun.
years.
And challenging too.
Sometimes.
My
it
first
is.
movie, listen to how fortunate I
Mostly
was.
just because of the
My
filter,
brother-
no
wait,
filter.
I gotta tell the story. People want to know
Like,
how.
let it rip.
Yeah.
Yes, let it rip.
People want to know how I got into the movie That Kind of Woman with Tab Hunter and Sophia Loren. And Tab Hunter remained my lifelong friend. I loved and adored Tab Hunter, and when he
not
left
alive
us,
anymore.
No, he
Huh?
died like
He
2 years
died.
ago.
When he left us, Jimmy Hat, I went to bed for like a day. I was sobbing
wow.
because he was the most wonderful human being in the
Well,
world.
you know, he was the big thing back in the 50s.
He was still a big
with-
thing,
with-
gorgeous at 80.
with-
At 80, he was hot. I'd have done
With,
it.
with Troy Donahue and, you
No,
know,
Troy never came up to Tab. Anyway, my brother-in-law, Evan J. Anton, was a documentary producer. And he did all the wonderful, he won awards for documentaries. And I said to him,
like Richard Chamberlain.
Yeah.
but this is a very
He's hot.
interesting story. You may want to use it or hear it. I'll punch it. Anyway, I was madly in love with Sophia Loren. I thought she was the most gorgeous creature in the world.
Yes.
So I said to my brother-in-law, they're shooting a movie out in Long Beach, Long Island called That Kind of Woman. Can you get me in? He said, I'll see. He knew Sidney Lumet, the director. So he contacted Sidney's people and said, my brother-in-law wants to be an extra in the movie. Well, I drove out and they gave me VIP treatment. I was a soldier. And I had this incredible mane of black hair, beautiful hair, beautiful hair. And they wanted me to wear the helmet this way. I said, I'm not covering my head. I walked in as an extra and I'm telling Sidney Lumet I'm not wearing the helmet.
Good.
Did I have balls? They went hysterical. They thought I was the cutest thing. I was 19. Who was this little punk
I know.
telling Sidney Lumet that he's not going to wear the helmet? So now when the movie opens and the credits roll, you're going to see all of us soldiers screaming and yelling as Sophia Loren and Barbara Nichols walk down the railroad station platform. Nobody looks like Ron Russell because there I am with this gorgeous mane of black hair, tall and skinny, looking divine. Anyway, I was in that film and I was thrilled to pieces, and Tab and I became friends, and we saw each other periodically over the years. Tab gave me one of the best interviews ever. He came out about his gayness and his love of Michael, who I know. Not Michael, what the hell was his name? I forgot. Anyway, whatever his name was.
It must have really been very difficult to really have been gay in Hollywood during the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s,
Yes.
and 60s.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, only in the 70s was,
sure.
you know, coming
It still
out
wasn't
with
okay.
it.
no, 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 no.
70s.
Rock Hudson, who I knew.
Much better.
Yes,
I
better.
knew Rock Hudson work-wise.
What a gorgeous hunk of burning
Wait,
love.
let me tell you. I was on a Macmillan and Wife, and we shot it down by the pier. And I had a little 2 lines with Rock. The minute Rock spoke, I could feel my body vibrating. The most gorgeous man in the world.
Oh, gorgeous.
I wanted to throw him down on the dock and just start kissing him. I had to contain myself.
I remember him from, you know, the early 60s with all those Doris Day movies. Remember those?
Yes.
Pillow Talk. And,
But he did better
you
than
know,
that. Now, Rock Hudson was delivering a line, and he said to the script girl, he said, you know, could we rewrite that line? I'm not comfortable with it. And she said, why? He said, it's a bit too feminine.
Oh wow.
He
Okay.
protected his masculinity like
Of
nobody else.
course.
He got married without loving the woman. It was a purple
Yeah.
wedding, a purple marriage. So back in those days, you couldn't be gay.
Yeah.
It was a Phyllis, I forget her last name, but I think she was his publicist.
Well, she was nobody. Meanwhile, back in those days, I couldn't get anywhere. You know why?
Why?
They said I was too ethnic looking.
Oh wow.
Because I looked like
Welcome to the
I could have
club.
been an Arab. I know.
Do you still have that problem?
Oh my God. Yes.
He had dark hair.
You haven't seen me when I was dark and black. I could look Greek, Arabic, Italian, but I was too ethnic.
You looked very, very Italian.
Well, they didn't want it because back then you had to be
Wait a
blonde,
second.
blue
I
eyed.
want to go back. I want to hear because I wouldn't think you would have that problem.
Oh my
now.
God, I have so many. So
What-
I think
what-
Hollywood
what-
should be a little bit more authentic in a way they cast things. A lot of times, I get asked to play with it, like the way Hollywood understands Russian accent. So it's not really
But you don't have
Russian.
one. You don't
I mean,
have
I do have one, but they want a really, really,
Oh, yeah.
fake Russian
You
accent.
have a lovely accent, whatever it is.
No, I
Yeah,
It's Russian.
you know,
It's not Russian.
I
But
never
she's
have-
saying they want her to have like a really thick Russian accent.
Yeah, which they're like, we love your acting, but can you please do a more like Russian accent? I'm like, can you give me a specific Russian accent? There is like 6 Russian accents.
No, are you from the Ukraine?
No, I'm from Siberia.
From,
Yeah.
from where?
Siberia.
You're from Siberia.
Yeah,
Siberia?
my family comes from there.
You know, one of my other favorite models of
You freeze your ass off in Siberia.
I can never complain in Malibu, about anything.
You know, Anna Kyle,
Yeah,
Winter,
yeah.
she was from Siberia.
Yeah.
Yes,
We have
but
amazing
she's
models.
Asian looking.
Yeah.
And then, we have someone like Eugenia, and who's the
Eugenia's
other one?
not Asian looking.
Who does the
No,
yoga?
she's saying from
I-
Siberia you have
wait,
people that look
wait, I
Asian,
forgot-
people who
I
look,
told
they all
Anna.
look different.
No, not Anna. What's her
They're all
name?
different.
I know exactly who
You,
you're talking
but
about. Yeah,
she's from Siberia too.
Yeah, you
so,
have-
so I
we have-
guess you have white Siberians and then you have Asian
All kind of.
Siberians.
Yeah.
So what do you usually have to audition
I'm
for?
not Susie Wong.
The wonderful world
Well,
of
the Susie,
Susie
he loves that
So,
movie.
yeah, and I love the actress because I knew her.
We've seen that
And
movie
she
like
didn't look
50
Asian
times.
at all the times. If she didn't want to look Asian, she could do her makeup
she
with
was
her eyes
actually-
around.
She was actually Eurasian.
She was
She
Eurasian.
was, I think, 25% English or something.
One of the greatest beauties I have ever. I put her up with you in this one. Beautiful woman.
I remember when
You ever meet her?
she was, yes, she came to one of my fashion shows.
Gorgeous.
So
woman.
with,
Oh my
with
God.
George
gorgeous.
Chakiris, who was also a really lovely person.
Yeah, we know.
But Nancy played
She's
in
still beautiful.
The Wonderful World of Susie Wong when she was only 19 years old.
It's a great movie.
And she was absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, I would get ripped for it all the time, Jimmy. Guys in the high school or junior high school would come up to me and say, "How's the wonderful world of Susie Wong today?"
Actually, in a way, that's a
You don't look
compliment, though.
that
'cause it's-
Chinese either.
I look very Asian, I think.
No, yeah, but not really. Some Chinese are not attractive at all.
Well, I think there's
Some Americans are not attractive either.
I think there's attractive jewels from every ethnicity
I think
and
so, too.
nationality. And
You have to have other stuff in you.
well, maybe the missionaries got in there somewhere.
So wait, go
I
back
don't
to
think they're
you.
100%.
I want to go back to
Chinese.
you. Like, so what, like, do you have to audition for a lot of stuff?
A lot of times I actually got into this business by accident just because I married my husband and then I had to move to LA.
Where were you
after
before
my kid.
that? Is
I
it-
was in New York,
Okay.
so I work with IMG and Ford. Katie Ford is like one of my best friends. She discovered and helped me.
Now, how and where did you meet Bill? Whom I met before, by the way.
Well, I used to have.
At one of your
Oh
birthday
yes,
parties.
yes. Yeah, well, he's brilliant. Very intellectual and New Yorker, which I really like and appreciate in that
I
sense.
love intellectual men. I really
Yeah,
do.
he made his whole career by himself,
Then you
which I
should
think
love
is
me. I'm a
incredible.
total
He was a
intellectual.
taxi driver and was
I
eating
read comic
noodles and
books.
became a
So he's
CEO of
self-made.
Miramax.
Okay.
Completely self-made, so can relate to
Well,
that.
first of all, tell our audience who your husband is.
Bill Block is my husband of 11 years.
And he is what? At where?
And he's at Miramax. He's the CEO of Miramax.
He took
always
over from
wanted
Harvey
to-
Weinstein.
Yeah, he always wanted to run a studio. That was his dream. When I met him, he was an independent
And your
producer.
husband replaced him.
Yeah, it's
That's a big deal.
It's a tough job, It entails a lot of
So
responsibilities.
your husband's got to be worth a couple of bucks.
That I don't know because as an independent woman, I strive to make my own money, but
I
I'm
love
pretty
that.
sure he's
I love
good.
that, too.
I think that's so awesome. And
You're talking to the quintessential
yeah, and the two,
self-made.
that's right, the two self-made women.
I
So-
never had on a man
So you,
for myself.
Yeah.
so you got into it kind of as a fluke. You were modeling, and then you married him, and you moved to LA, and then what? You like wake up and just say, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna go try and be in a movie."
Well, Katie Ford set us up, and I wasn't even going to show up because I don't really, I didn't do the whole dating thing. My doctor said I could never have kids, so my idea of my life would be like work forever, adopt kids later on, and just be whatever, self-reliant.
Do me a favor.
And take
Wait, let's
have
let
many
him
I
finish
can't-
boyfriends in
I'm
every
overwhelmed by
country.
her. I'm overwhelmed by her class, her European elegance, the way she moves. She's feminine. Please do me a favor. Look at my camera.
Okay.
Everyone out there, she's breathtaking. She's
That's so
gorgeous.
sweet. Thank you.
I want to see her in movies as a major star.
I think kindness is the most thing that they cherish.
Kind is good. Ask Sue Wong about kind. She wasn't so kind over the years. I heard stories about her make your hair
I
fall
don't
out.
believe you. Sue is one of
Sue
the
Wong was
kindest
a
women.
toughie.
That's not true.
We'll block
What's
that.
up?
We're not gonna.
If anybody tried to cross you, they made a big mistake.
Well, I am known as Samurai Sue.
Samurai
I am
Sue.
the nicest person.
Did you
until
hear that?
somebody really
Samurai
asks me
Sue.
Right.
over,
That's
and
true.
I'm provoked, and then I pick out my sword and I start chopping off
Good.
heads and body parts.
Which I
Good.
think is an important quality in a woman. You know, I think you have to set up boundaries and, you know, being an
You do.
independent career woman, you definitely,
Yes.
you know, when you have an intellect.
There's
wait.
an old Italian saying, but I'll change the word because I don't want my show to get an X rating. If you screw me once,
Yeah.
I'll feel sorry for you. If you screw me twice, I'll feel sorry for me. And when I feel sorry for me, you better run for the hills.
If you screw me once, I'm a Russian spy.
You don't want to match words. You don't want to match words with me. Right, people out there that know Ron Russell? I have outbitched everybody. Nobody dares. I could be cruel and mean and evil.
Wait, I want to go back in here. Though.
There's
Okay.
Jimmy.
So you moved. So Katie Ford introduced you. Is it Kate or Katie?
Katie, yeah.
Katie Ford introduced you.
Dear friend who, you know, spoke to you actually yesterday. She set us up, and she, you know, apparently my husband asked for 10 composite cards because he has a type. And then
Oh, and
he
you were
kept
one of
me,
them.
but he still kept the other 10 cards, or 9 cards, which I have in my collection. But I think he's brilliant. He's very funny, you know, and I think we're good partners.
So then you moved here, though.
I moved here. I had a kid by surprise, and we
Oh,
weren't married.
okay.
It wasn't anything
Oh,
planned.
so your kids are your kids then?
They're my kids. Yeah.
Okay.
They're my, I
You have such
two
beautiful
of my,
eyes. It's not even
no.
funny.
All three of them?
2 of them. So I have a stepson who is in college now, and then my son is 13, teenager, and
That's
You know, we're very young still. If I could write how Grace Kelly really died, you know, Grace Kelly was not driving. Her daughter was driving.
really?
yeah,
And they were having a wicked fight. And the
yeah.
daughter lost control of that car. Grace was not behind the wheel when she was found. She was found on the passenger side.
you
This I know from a friend of mine who I won't mention, who is a very famous actor who lives in Italy. He lives in Portofino.
I love Portofino.
And he knew Grace well. And he told me years ago that Grace Kelly's daughter was driving, and that's how the accident happened. I would like to write the true story and have you portray Grace Kelly.
well, you have to dub me with my Russian accent, but I would totally.
No,
be on
there's a
screen.
way we wouldn't dub you. We'd have a voice, a coach, a speech
Yeah,
coach.
yeah.
They tell you what you're doing wrong.
You know, she started with Ford models.
Yes.
Apparently, they were really big and finding, you know, Eileen Ford, and they kind of adopted me because, you know, being in the business so young, I wasn't the party girl at all. I was the girl who makes the money, goes to
I could
bed,
tell
you know.
that. I knew the party girls. You don't look like a party girl.
Elite, yeah. So Elite Models wasn't really my type of agency, and then Katie adopted me. And I remember we were living on Wall Street in like penthouse with other girls, and Leo would wait down in the car waiting for us, and we had a chaperone, so we had to escape and kind of, you know, go out sometimes when we were like a little bit older, like 18.
So you like New York?
I love New York. I just got back.
Salami.
Salami.
Genoa salami.
But it's-
ground up.
It's so good.
What?
Yeah, it's cooked. It's cooked.
Yeah.
Of course it's cooked. We gotta give you raw food. I mean, you know the old expression,
So no.
eat it raw. Well, I don't expect you to eat it raw, Sue.
Well, in France, it's a delicatesse, right? You eat raw, whatever.
Yeah.
Delicacy.
Delicacy.
You get to meet all kinds of cool people doing that, though, right? Because like when I was in school, like my fraternity brothers, one of them dated this girl who was like a Ford model, and like we would get invited to the cool, like we would be like backstage at the New Order concert, or we would be backstage at concerts meeting like Depeche Mode and all these like wild things just because she was like a famous model, and I was like, what a great life, you know?
Yeah, you looking back, you really like didn't appreciate it. I remember my husband took me to Cannes Film Festival when we first met, and the daughter of Warner Brothers Studio invited me to this party, and she said, "Oh, thank you so much. You're so nice. Like, bring your friends."
You gotta tell it. Just put it in there.
And it was Ocean 11 or Ocean whatever.
one of
it was
those.
coming up.
Style.
And I showed up with like 15 of my friends who are not in the business. They're just my good friends. I had no idea, you know, I shouldn't do that. And then we stole the whole show, the paparazzi, and that's how I met Angelina because she was there with Brett. And
I like
didn't
Jessica
understand. I thought,
myself.
you know, they're just regular
I hate
people.
But you look good though, I'm
Always
sure, because you
have
always.
to
One thing I've never seen you look slubby ever.
Yeah, I mean, I
No, she's
appreciate
a class
style. You know, I actually, how I got to start working was Yves Saint Laurent kind of discovered me. So he was the first one who really believed, you know.
Who are some of the other designers you've worked for?
I worked with everybody. I mean, Hermes, Dior, Alexander McQueen was always amazing. You know, a lot of times models would sit at fittings until like 1 a.m. and he would come in. He was actually the opposite of like too dressed, but he was real. You know, he really supported his models and such an Alexander McQueen.
I love those.
Yeah.
My favorite designers
So
back when I
creative.
was designing and stuff, and my favorite ones though were like John Galliano, Alexander
yeah,
McQueen,
yeah.
Alexander McQueen, and Vivienne Westwood were like
Oh
my
my
three
God,
favorite.
Vivienne.
You couldn't
Those
wear
are my
Vivienne
three
Westwood.
favorites as far as the European designers are concerned. And then my favorite Japanese designers would be Junior Watanabe, which I really
You wear a lot of.
I
I
work
wear
with
a
them
lot of,
too.
I wear a lot of Junior and Issey Miyake and Yoji Yamamoto.
Issey Miyake's my favorite cologne.
And Ray Kawakubo from Comme des Garçons. So I really am more in favor of the avant-garde designers.
Yeah, Junie and
love that
it was so funny because I spent a lot of time with her. One time I was doing her show and I showed up at her house.
Comme des Garçons?
Yeah, so I worked with them a lot, and instead of showing up, they were doing it at like a really kind of weird facility outside of Paris. I showed up at her house instead, like their styling house at 4 a.m. She's like, okay, you have to share a car with me because we have to bring you this model. She doesn't know where she's going. So I had a pleasure to really kind of know her as a person, which is always fascinating.
Did she speak English?
Yeah, they're very intelligent and
Let me tell you about this iconic evening that I had with Issey Miyake and Rudy Gernreich. Do you remember Rudy?
Sure.
Okay, so I had the occasion to spend an evening at the, she was then the LA fashion editor of the LA Times, Mary Lou Butler, who was a very dear friend of mine. And she said, I want you to come over and I want you to meet two icons. She didn't tell me who they were. When I walked in, there was Issey Miyake and Rudy Gernreich and his lover sitting in the living room. And we had the most fabulous time together. And that was probably one of the highest peaks in my fashion career, to really meet two of my favorite iconic designers.
Mark,
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, brilliant, intellectually, inclined, as well as incredible, innovative, and just really great designers.
my true designers are Versace. My whole house is Versace.
Well,
And
you're-
Dolce and Gabbana.
Well, they're Italian, no wonder.
He likes the Italian.
I was going to
Well,
say that. Not because they're Italian, only because also Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren designs for men my size.
So
I cannot wear Pierre Cardin.
I,
Not that I ever would.
oh yeah, totally.
I did my whole fashion thing totally different. So I did it for like 20 years.
I never wear
I only
Pierre
made one of everything. So I
Oh,
had
that's
stores
great.
with all one of a kind. I mean, everybody, Elton John, Madonna, I dressed everybody.
it.
I wear Jimmy Star.
And then what I did though is I used to travel just to see the other designers. So when I was in England, I knew that
Yeah, he was ahead of the time.
oh my God.
Pity
Who
his
did I just?
friend
Vivienne
Lovell.
Westwood. I knew she rode her bicycle to her store.
I love Vivienne.
So when I was there, I literally like waited for her to ride her bicycle, so I could like meet her, and she was super nice, and
She's
it was like
so
the-
nice. She invited me to work with her to move to London and work with her all the time. And I've had a little bit different. I moved to New York, but she's just such a sweet. And her husband
I like-
is so amazing and gorgeous.
Yes, of course, in the 70s, she was with Malcolm McLaren.
Yeah, Malcolm
McLaren.
And they were the darlings of avant-garde.
Yep.
They had that store called Boy, remember?
Yep.
On Kings Road.
I've been there,
So they were the ticket.
and I've met Malcolm McLaren before,
of that
and I go on eBay all the time because she has a T-shirt that they made in the 80s, and all it does is say Westwood all the way around the whole thing in the middle in really big
I never
letters.
wear labels.
And I always go looking for it just because I just want to have it. I probably won't ever wear it. I just want to have it.
Yeah,
Unless
it's
you
amazing.
rated it,
No,
so long
if you paid me to wear your label, I would. But I'll be damned if I'm going to go to a red carpet and advertise you and you don't even give me the clothes I'm wearing for free. Frig you. Question.
Honey,
My
you know,
daughter Leslie
you have to be
was
willing to
a
wear
Powers model.
big
Oh, he'd wear one.
Modeling agency.
Have you seen him in drag, right?
She had the look of the year girl.
You never
She
seen him
won
in
the
drag?
look.
We never showed
She
you
was on a
pictures
shoot.
of him in drag. Oh my
For
God.
2 hours, they played with her hair. They played with her makeup. She said to me, Daddy, I will never do this again. I said, you can't. She said, screw them. I cannot stand anybody touching me. This hair's out. Do this. She said, I can't take it. And my daughter stopped modeling. Where do you see what my daughter looks like? You're going to faint. She could be your sister.
My sister kind of never started doing that because of the same thing. You know,
Do you
it's
have
a
the
job.
picture of her with the black gloves?
I don't have any of those. I'm not going to show you that. Sue said she hasn't seen me in drag.
Oh my
That's
God.
him.
Don't show
That's
that.
him as
Jim.
Gene Russell.
You know what? I was gonna say, he looks very much like Jane Russell.
And then
Well,
this
I
is him.
impersonated.
Yeah.
And that's him. And that's a super famous drag persona book.
Yeah.
He's the centerfold of it.
See that picture? Jane said, oh, you look wonderful there. I said, Jane, I hate that picture. I look ugly. You know what she said to me? I
said,
wish I looked that good. And I said to myself, I
it's the
never
centerfold of the
Jane
magazine,
Russell
but this is
to
him
figure
as
out.
Jane Russell.
Well, she was 87 years
But you
old.
were channeling Jane, for sure. You were channeling Jane.
You know what? The guy I was with at the time was a fucking nut. Multi-millionaire. No, he was gold guys. Very, very rich guy. Jewish from Pennsylvania. Couldn't stand it. I'm gonna show you how much money he had.
You want any more of anything?
I was friends
Okay.
with Jane Russell
I'm
at the time.
enjoying this meal so much.
And we had lunch with Jane, and Stephen, the first thing out of his mouth, because he was a moron from Pennsylvania, said, you know, I'm Jewish. So Jane said, so is Jesus Christ. Because she was a born-again Christian.
Yeah.
Jane said to me later on, where did you find that one? She said, he's retarded. I said, he's not retarded, he's schizophrenic. She said, oh my God, Ron, get rid of him. He's schizophrenic. I get all the nuts. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like a magnet. If they're crazy and weird, I get them. Anyway, I fell in love with Jane Russell at a young age, and I tell you the truth, I'm going to say this on the air for the first time. Jane and I came very close to making love one time. I'm not lying. She was staying at my house. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. We had just finished having little snacks by the fire, and she was on her way to the guest room, and then she came out of the guest room in an all black see-through kind of a bodysuit. And I kissed her goodnight on the cheek, and she held me and kissed me on the mouth. Wait, this is a true story. She then said to me, Ron, I can't stay here, I have to go. I'm going to stay at my niece's house. Her niece was Tyrone Power's daughter, who lived down the road from us. At 3 in the morning, I put her luggage on the back of my sport car. And Jane got in the sport car, and I drove her to her niece's house. Because Jane felt that she was going to make a mistake and have sex with me, and a Christian can't do that unless they're married.
Oh my God.
And it's the first time I've ever come public with this.
Wow.
She and I really had a love affair.
That's
I mean, we had fun together, like kids. I had
show you
my
the
Audi
pictures
was
now?
brand new, I put the top down. We'd go up to Solvang together for ice cream, driving like teenage kids with music on. I played all her music on my, like Bye Bye Baby and all those songs from The Gentleman.
This is right before she died.
She was gorgeous, 89 years old, look how gorgeous.
wow. Yes.
And a body of death and a pair of legs like you can't believe. She had legs on her like a teenager. She's a beautiful woman. Beautiful.
And I did have the privilege of meeting her.
Yes, you did in Sedona.
In Sedona, Arizona. This is probably like early 80s.
Yeah, she lived there for
She
years.
was living there. And I didn't know who she was at first because we were waiting in line to be seated at this very exclusive Sedona restaurant. And we struck up a conversation. And then I realized, oh my God, it's Jane Russell.
She's wonderful.
So I did have, a little small interaction with her. She seemed to have been a lovely.
Jane Russell was like you, Sue. A big shot movie star that everybody feared. But when you
I'm
knew
I'm
her,
not even a movie star.
no, but when you knew Jane,
An important
and if she
person.
loved you, Jane, listen, at the premiere of one of her movies in Florida where she was getting an award for Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, she was staying at my house. Our limo picked us up and it took us there. And I say to myself, well, please, dear God, let there be at least 2 photographers. Let there be somebody there. We publicized that Jane Russell was going to be at the premiere. When we got there, I almost dropped dead. The crowds of people, like my heart was singing. And I said to Jane, "Oh my God, look at all the people." She said, "Oh shit." That was
It's
Jane.
overwhelming, yeah.
Couldn't care less. We get out now, we're both standing side by side. It's on film, by the way. And they're asking her questions, and one of the people said, "Sir, would you mind stepping away?" And as I stepped away, she grabbed me by my shoulder pad and pulled me in. And she
that's
looked
so
at him,
sweet.
she said, "If he's not in the shot, turn your camera off."
I love it. So it's
She was a
about
generous
loyalty.
person.
Yeah.
Now, this is a really, circular connect. She dated Howard Hughes. Who
No,
was
wrong, lie, totally wrong.
well, it was rumored that
No.
she dated.
I spoke to Jane many times. I said, "I heard Howard kept you." She said, "No way. I was married at the time to the football player." She said, "Listen, first of all, Howard Hughes went out with Terry Moore, all little girls. He made, what's her name, pregnant, Faith DeMorg, at 16. He didn't like big women. Jane was as big as I mean, Jane was a big lady.
She was very statuesque.
Very big. Her legs came out of her boobs. I mean, she had legs for days. And Jane said, "Never." I said, "You never slept with Howard Hughes?" She said, "Yes, I slept with him once. I was drunk and he was drunk, and I wound up in his bed, and we slept all night. And in the morning," she said, "we woke up and looked at each other and said, 'Could you imagine if the press ever saw this, what they do with it?'" She said, "We didn't have sex, we were drunk. We fell asleep,
Yeah.
like brother and sister."
That happens.
That's totally wrong. Jane Russell never slept with Howard Hughes. She was very emphatic about that.
So it was all rumored that he developed this special heart.
No, the bra is true.
That's
She was
true.
shooting. She was shooting a scene in the haystack, and she had on a jersey blouse. And in those days, bras were made with seams that went around like this to points, like scones. They looked like freaks with these pointy tits like that.
Did you have those bras?
Here was somebody's.
Did you have those bras?
Madonna.
Yeah, Madonna.
No, here was a bra. This is what.
Yeah.
You could be a 34B, a C, A, and this is what you look like. So Howard Hughes designed a bra on the cantilever, where the metal went underneath and it lifted her breasts. So when you saw her in the jersey top, you didn't see seams. Jane said, "I put it on in my dressing room. The goddamn thing was killing me. What the fuck did he do to me with the metal?" And she said, "My tits were killing me." This exact word. She said, "My tits were killing me."
Yeah.
She said, "So I kicked it under the cot and I went and got tissue, not toilet paper," he used to say, tissue paper. And I lined my circular bra and I went out. And Howard looked, "Okay, it looks good, it looks good." And she shot that famous scene laying in the haystack without his bra on. So she
good,
never wore
smart.
Howard Hughes' bra.
Wow,
That's the truth.
that's interesting what you hear and what the
Well, the
real
press.
story was.
She never fought with Marilyn Monroe on Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. She
Sure.
felt sorry for Marilyn Monroe because Marilyn Monroe, as she said to me, was a pathetic mess due to her orphanage. Marilyn loved Jane. Jane said to Marilyn, "Go to my church. I think it can help you." And Marilyn went. And a day or two later, when they were shooting Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Marilyn said, "Oh, it's not for me, Jane." Jane told me, she said, "You know, Ron, Marilyn would still be alive today had she gone to my church."
Interesting.
Jane loved Marilyn. Marilyn was like a little kid sister. Jane had sung before many times in movies. Marilyn hadn't. So they had a lot of trouble with Marilyn Monroe. But Marilyn could dance better than Jane could. So the two of them together balanced out a wonder. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
It's a
Oh my
wonderful,
God, so many
it's a
times.
wonderful movie.
It's an iconic movie.
Well, that's what Jane said. Anyway, to conclude the whole Jane Russell episode, she was probably, and this is why I love Sue Wong, and I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's ass here. I'm telling the truth. So many ways she reminds me of Jane Russell. She's famous, and yet she's down to earth. There's something quality about her. There's a magnetism, an attraction.
It's my peasant upbringing.
No, it could be. It could be the fact. No, it could be the fact that she has one of the greatest asses you'll ever see. She has a great
Go ahead, you can
ass.
show us now.
No, she has
One of the
a
biggest-
fabulous tight butt.
It has not fallen as of yet.
That's good for
One of the
you.
biggest highlights of my career is meeting Sue Wong.
There you go.
I can definitely
One
notice.
of my biggest moments is meeting you, darling. You know,
No, it's
And you know that we're all going to be at Halloween Hotness on October 16th. You're still going, right?
Yeah.
And she's going.
Oh, it's
I'm
going to be a
going-
big deal.
You have to change the photo of me, however, because
She doesn't like that picture. I think she looks
you
great.
chose the worst.
I don't even think I chose it. I think they chose it. I don't think
Who's they?
the people who run it. They said, "Can we invite Sue Wong?" And I said, "Yeah." And then they just put it up there.
Okay, we have.
I'll talk to him though. I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Send me one you like, and I'll tell him to switch it out.
I will, darling. You know.
We're trying to get Marlo Thomas and her husband, what's his name, the interviewer. What's Marlo
Oh,
Thomas?
Phil Donahue.
Phil
We have a
Donahue.
lot of fun
Oh, yeah.
people coming though to
Oh, that's
this.
so great.
There's a lot of fun people
Oh, that'd be
coming.
fun. Where is it? gonna be again?
It's at Madame Tussauds.
No?
Wow.
and-
I've never been to Mount.
I haven't
Tussauds.
either.
Really?
Have you?
I went to the one in France, Paris.
I've been to the Max Factor Museum. You know, as a matter of fact,
So-
they
Yeah.
had some of my gowns featured.
No, they told me that the red carpet's downstairs, and then you go through the whole wax museum will be open for all the people going, and then the party and drinks and
On the
everything
roof.
will be on the roof, so you oversee all of downtown
I
LA.
love
Oh,
it.
how
Or
much fun would
whatever.
that be?
Yes.
It's going to be fun, and we have a lot of people coming.
So
Hey.
you better bring some of your Hollywood friends as well.
And I'll wear your dress.
Of course.
No, it's gonna be a lot of fun. They got a lot of
Eileen
photographers
Shapiro will
coming.
be there,
No,
Billy
no,
Hatfield.
they're not coming.
What?
They're not coming
Oh, my, you're kidding me. Why?
because one of our clients is playing the Kennedy Center the next day, and they have to be there for that.
What about Soho Johnny?
And he's not. He's going to be going to the Kennedy Center thing. But a lot of the people that we invited, the celebrities that we had come to your parties, your different red carpet things, they're all going to be there, so you'll know all of them.
Is Ron and Devin
No.
back in town yet?
No, they're not back.
They
I don't
won't be
think.
back for it?
I don't know. I didn't even ask them because they don't like to go to events.
They're in Italy.
Italy, yeah, I follow them on Instagram, but they have Doug Jones though, which we've had on our show. And I'm looking forward to meeting him. Do you know who Doug Jones is? So Doug Jones is like the he's like the creature in every major movie that wins an Academy Award.
Yeah.
Like that one about the guy who lives in the water, the shape of the water. He's the shape.
Yeah, okay.
He's that guy.
Oh, wow.
He's Silver Surfer. He's in
So
like.
great.
And so he's gonna. And do you ever see Hocus Pocus? He's also.
Yeah.
He's the zombie in the graveyard in Hocus Pocus, which I just love that movie.
That's a talent.
But he's he's like the biggest guy in that. He's been in like 10 Oscar nominated movies, you know, where he's the lame person.
So great.
So I'm excited about him coming. And then
Good.
Yeah,
I don't like
that
weak
about LA,
salads. I
there's so
always
much
have
talent.
this.
actually, did he tell you could take a +1 or no? Do you have a +1?
I'm not sure.
Meanwhile, I have a
If you wanted to bring somebody, let me know and I'll
Sure,
contact
yeah.
him because I'll just tell
That's the
him.
thing about my husband. He doesn't
We
go
can
out.
start-
Well, even if he doesn't go, but
Beautiful
that other
I
girl
can-
who you always go places with, I like her a lot. I forgot her name. I'm sorry.
The model?
Kristen.
Kristen.
She's an actress.
Kristen,
No.
the redhead?
Redhead.
I think she's foreign.
Okay.
I don't know. She was at Sue Wong's thing that you modeled when they did the house thing. She was there. She had a white dress on with the.
Meanwhile, you were so good.
No, I think she's I don't know because you do a lot. I think she's an actress, not a
I
model.
have so many friends.
Oh.
Actresses, models. My usual.
Kristen was there along with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Kristen though. It's a different lady because I met her with you some other place before, so I already knew her when she was.
Corrective criticism.
Yeah.
You are so beautiful. You don't need all that war paint. Your gown was gorgeous. You look beautiful, but you didn't look like you.
When?
Your beauty is right now, not all that blue shadow and that shit on your face. Not the ugly ones.
it's okay, you know, it's magical for the screen it treats.
No. I would love to see you in a Sue gown, softly lit, angelic looking, because you're such a beautiful girl. You don't need all that paint.
All he does.
Your makeup artist is overdoes it.
Huh?
Did you see Eugenia when she filmed? I think it was at Frederick's. What is that home show?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the $1 million listing.
$1 million listing.
Yeah.
We were not invited.
It wasn't my event, otherwise you would have been invited. But anyway, Eugenia, I dressed her in this high goth glam outfit
I loved it.
with a stand-up collar.
The black-
Oh, that I love.
And,
Yeah, it
and
was
she
great.
looked so amazing.
Yeah.
And then she attracted all the ghosts of the Cedars with
That's
her,
true.
following her. And she was shot in the library, and then all of a sudden there were these flying orbs left and right everywhere.
It's true.
You know,
Like the light
and
is
it's
crazy.
true. You know,
It's a
I
magical
love
place.
that.
I feel those spirits in that house, and I always tell people I live with a lot of famous ghosts.
Which is fun.
It is.
A lot of famous people lived in your house.
So then you
Sure,
came.
they
What was the
leave
first
you alone.
movie you were in when you came here?
What are they doing?
The first, well, talking about ghosts, sorry, I'll just the word. I stayed at Mel Brooks' house.
Mel Brooks?
Yeah, with my kids here in
No, wait a
Malibu.
minute. Mel Brooks is
And
still
I'll
alive,
answer.
though, isn't he?
He is, yeah, but he
Yeah.
rented his house for us in Malibu, like, which is 5 minutes away with my kids. And all his ex-wives, there's so many ghosts. Like, the TV would turn on. My kids would say that. And I was like,
he was married to Anne Bancroft.
Yes.
Who was one of the
Greatest actor. I love her.
I love
actresses.
Anne Bancroft.
Yeah, he loves Sam Bancroft.
And The Graduate, remember her?
yes. So there are all these posters of them, and then there's Einstein picture, which is signed, which I was like thinking,
I
I always
love
said
you're really
Einstein.
signed.
my mother and Anne Bancroft could have been sisters. My mother had the same personality as Anne. Oh, they're both Brooklyn broads.
Yeah.
No, Anne Bancroft was great. Are you still at that house right now?
No, we are back because my kids go to school, so it's
Oh,
too
that's
hard to
right.
drive.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the colony still stacked with stars like it used to be?
A little bit, yeah. More, I think it's more technology stars now. You know, everybody's in video games and
Oh,
Elon Musk
yeah.
and
Video
everybody
games,
else.
that makes a lot
You
of
know,
money.
TikTok.
I think
Are you
the
on TikTok?
colony is one of the
Not
most-
yet, but my
Okay.
husband tells me after.
I think the colony is one of the most overrated communities in Malibu because for like 25 feet of beach, which is like this, you have to pay like $35 million or more for it, you know? And I think the Zuma Bluffs where I'm at, you can see it's got some of the most incredible views in Malibu, you know? So you have to know where to really buy in Malibu. So, you know, because Malibu, people don't understand, it is a strip of coastline that runs about 28 miles, you know? And so within that 28 miles, you have all these different communities from Big Rock to, you know, like the Colony, to Carbon Beach, to Zuma Beach, to Paradise Cove, to Encinal Canyon, and then all the
Yeah,
communities.
but the good thing about the colony is it's gated, so that's good security for the people that are there. The last time I was in,
It's overrated.
It feels pretty secure, right?
Yeah,
no, I was in the colony in 1974 or 5. And I was the guest of a very good friend of ours, a doctor whose name I won't mention, because I remember being shocked when I walked into the living room. There was a bowl on the coffee table with white stuff, and I was so stupid. It was all Coke.
God.
Anyway, next door to him was Shirley MacLaine's house.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So he knew Shirley. And I said, oh, I would love to meet her. I wasn't interviewing in those days yet. Was I? No, I wasn't.
Surely lived
And I
in
met
that
Shirley. She
neighborhood.
happened to be there for a weekend. And I remember going in her house, she had old goat skin, dead goats over all her furniture. With goat, like, you would like it, Mongolian looking.
No, that's
Old
not
goat
stuff.
skin on it.
Not goat
Anyway,
skin.
she was she was
rough for
quite
me.
she
Goat
was quite a
skin.
character. And I said to her, I said, you know, Shirley, when your apartment in New York was for sale, I went to look for it. They were asking $450, a duplex 2-bedroom apartment on the east side, okay, right off the river. Could you kill yourself?
Yeah.
And they were asking $450. She said, so why didn't you buy it? I said, because it was dark.
Yeah.
And that elevator was spooky.
Yeah.
It was an old turn-of-the-century elevator. You know the building?
Yeah, I think so.
Horrible, ugly old building, but wonderful apartment. She had newspapers on the kitchen chair stacked this high. She was like a pack rat. House wasn't very clean either, Shirley. Get a better housekeeper.
So wait, I'm
For
gonna go back.
$450,000, it had a roof deck also.
That's
Today it's $40 million.
Yeah, true. You know, when I came to Malibu just about 40 years ago, you could really buy a house for $500,000 that would be a humongous mansion, which is what I had, on almost 2 acres. And then I bought the house next door for another 3/4 of acres. And, you know, but now that same house probably would sell for about $35 to $40 million. So the prices are just off the charts.
But you got to think about it though, because even like 30 or 40 years ago, $500,000 though was still, that's a lot of money
Lot of
back
money.
then.
It was. I bought my big house on the edge of Point Dune. I think it was in the mid 70s for $500,000. I think the last time it sold was really, for $30-something million. So that's really how prices have gone.
I grew up in a really big house in West Palm Beach, and it was like really nice. Probably the nicest house I ever had was the house that I grew up in. And I think my dad said like they paid $35,000 for it, and that was a lot. He was like, that was a lot of money.
I have one that beats all of you. My sister developed rheumatic fever, and she would take the elevator in the city projects where we lived in Brooklyn. We're poor people live in the projects. Well, there was starting to be a lot of men molesting young girls in the elevator. So my father said, let's get the hell out of here. And he bought a house in Astoria, Queens, off the East River. Across the street was a lake. Lady next door had goats. And the house cost them $3,400.
Oh my
and
God.
guess what? They had a mortgage.
Oh my God,
Yes, wait a minute.
Can you
Wait, I
imagine?
always research that house because it's my house. It is now on the market, or was, for $2.4 million.
It's a little teeny, like,
because
shack.
that property today is considered New York City. They're going to knock all those houses down and build high rises. We were right on I used to swim in the East River. That's how come I'm going to live to be 100.
I
'Cause
believe
East River
you
was
would go
dirty.
beyond 100.
No.
East River
When we
was
swam in the East River, all the sewers from Queens and Long Island emptied into the East River.
So
we would tell each other as we're swimming, the meat's coming. The meat was doo-doo. And then we'd get our hands and do that. Then a condom would float by loaded. And we'd say, the rubber's coming, rubbers are coming. And we'd kick that away. So all of that pollution went into my body. My immune system fought it.
Yeah.
And today I'm as strong as an ox.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I firmly believe swimming in the East River as a kid, and I loved it. We always got naked. Our school, PS 83, was across the street from the river. So at noontime, we'd all go in the river naked, then we'd go back to school. You know what our teachers did? They'd lick us to see if we were salty. And then they'd say, I'm telling your parents, you're swimming in the river again. Oh no, Mrs. Harrington, I wasn't swimming in the river. I'm just Italian. I taste olive oil.
Well, I would say, and you always advertise your age, which I think is very
With great
courageous.
pride.
Okay, so for 81 years old, you probably have the biggest life force of anybody that I know.
Well, you know what? I eat well. I don't do drugs. I never did drugs, and
Me
I don't
neither.
like drinking. Drinking was never my thing. Now I was told not to drink because of my triple bypass surgery. So I'm not allowed to drink for another year. So I don't drink anything at all, just water with lemon. You are what you eat, and you are what you believe you are. And if you're positive thinking all the time, your dreams will come true. Here's a lady that came from China. Communist China, they could have killed this woman and her
rats.
family. They could have killed her. And who the frig are you? You want to go to America? Boom, boom, boom. And her mother and her father came first, and then her mother and she followed afterwards. So I forgot where I was going with that.
That's okay.
Just a life force. Being a life
Being a
force.
big life force.
It's called life force, If you have a certain joie de vivre and you love life and you are basked in the radiance and the beauty of it all, you can live forever. That's what
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with who you are. If I were a plumber living on Long Island in a $30,000 ranch house, I would not be so happy. I'd probably be dead.
I think it
Not that
really-
there's anything wrong with being a plumber in a ranch house on Long Island, but my life is so exciting. 81 years old, making movies, a hit interview show. Jimmy and I are still #1 podcast in the world 3 years in a row. We were Emmy nominated. We have over 5 million people that watch our show, and to me that's quite a thrill.
Oh my God, Eugenia, do you realize there's going to be 5 million people watching this today?
No, more than that, because this is
more.
going to YouTube and it will be on a smart TV. So anytime you want to see this interview, just go to this
Once
interview
it's edited.
and you'll see it. And it goes all over the world.
So I want to know real quick from Eugenia though, because I've been watching since the first time you were on our
I'm an
show,
editor
which we
on
met
this.
through Holly.
Yes,
And
yes.
Holly and I have become the best friends. I talk to her
so
all
sweet,
the
yeah.
time. We talk to her all the time. And
Oh, I love Holly.
And so she, so I've been watching your IMDb grow, from there. So if you had your choice, what kind of an actress do you want to be? Because I've seen you've done some action shit. I saw some video clips.
She's a good
where you
actress.
kick the shit out of some people. You could be an Angelina Jolie in Salt type thing.
Not to mention, she is really gaining reputation as being a comedian.
Yes. And then you could be a comedic actor.
Well, basically now we're closing the show. It's called the Supermodels of Comedy, which I am creating with the amazing manager Barry Katz. I don't know if you guys know him, but he started at Chappelle. He does everything, and I would love Sue to have, you know, her gowns. We're planning to do it in Vegas and Delilah, which is very roaring 20s, and hopefully we'll have Heidi Klum hosting it. We're in talks. Actually, tomorrow at 12 we're doing a business meeting. So I'm working on so many things, but I think being outside of the box and challenging yourself is the most important thing as a person, to always grow. And like once you do one thing, I think for artists, once you settle in one thing, you don't grow. So, you know, it's good to be known to play Russian spy or whatever, you know, but I always want to challenge
Something
myself
different.
and do something new.
Well, I was told when I was young, starting off, you're too good looking to be stand-up.
Of course.
Most stand-ups are ugly people,
Yeah.
overweight and horrible. When a good looking, and I was very handsome when I was young, I look like Tony Curtis, everybody used to tell me that.
Well, you're still handsome.
No, I'm old, get the hell out of it. I look like my horse's ass.
No, you
No, I don't, Sue. Eugenia will look, if I could talk to her 40 years from now, and you say how beautiful she is at 80 or 90, whatever she will be, 50, 60, whatever, she's going to agree with you. There's nothing more beautiful than youth. Youth in itself is beauty. Betty Davis, who I knew, she was a pal of mine also, would say often, I used to think I was ugly. I look like I got hit in the face with a frying pan. She would say that. She said, now I look back on, my God, I was gorgeous. Because you were young. So,
I
don't agree with that.
disagree.
Wait, I'm segueing into something.
I disagree with you.
I disagree too.
well, you like old men, that's why you would.
No,
No,
If
but
I
I
was
look
young-
better. I look better now than I looked
No,
when I was young.
I have to disagree, Ron, because just youthful beauty that's, you know, not informed with experience, with grace, you know, with wisdom, to me is no beauty at all.
Well, every man I know over 60 who's very rich does not have a 60-year-old woman.
But
They
you
all
know
have
what?
22-year-old blondes.
Yeah, but
They
you
have
know what?
They're just
Eugenias.
thinking with the other head.
Those are the types of men that I definitely would not.
I know that, but they all want Eugenia. If Eugenia was
I
single,
don't think so.
I would get a million phone calls.
After 16, your price in that category goes down anyway. But I think I think beauty is a state of mind, and youth is a state of mind. You know, more than anything.
You're as young as you want to
Well,
be.
you know what? A lot of men
You're
will
as
say
beautiful as you want to
intelligence
be.
in bed just ain't worth it.
No, I'm sorry.
You know,
There-
nobody
there-
goes to bed and listens to your mom. Oh,
No,
come on.
no,
You go to
no,
bed
no.
and tell them how smart you are?
No, but
They
there.
want to see how fast you can move your booty.
Well, but there's an
That's only one
intelligence
part.
to that too.
Yeah, that's right.
There is an intelligence to being a good lover.
So Sue Wong,
you know?
when she has sex, she says, you are now having sex with a totally intelligent lady who's extremely successful, and I will move for you. Boom, 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 boom.
Can I add
Just talk to any of my past lovers, darling. I
I
have
don't
no
wanna-
complaints from any of
You know
them.
what? I'm going to
okay?
find out for myself one day.
You know what I love? I
One
love
day I'm going to try Chinese food.
growing
Not
up.
on your life as far as Jimmy is.
That's right.
As long as he's around.
So wait,
I
what?
feel
You're
like
asking.
Hang on, go Eugenia,
growing up
go.
in
From him,
Paris, you know what I love
She
about
said to beat the shit
Friends? Because French are all about seduction. So for me, Friends is
Yes.
such an amazing culture
Absolutely.
in so many
I
ways.
Agree. I agree.
It's all about the lighting, and that's why I like, you know, like old movie stars from the 20s, and they knew their lighting.
Oh, lighting
Like
is
you
the
have
most...
to, it's
Lighting
magic. You know,
and-
beauty is magic. So
Yes.
it doesn't matter.
Sometimes if I'm
Beauty is
lit
magic
wrong,
and intelligence
Yes,
is magic.
I agree.
There's alchemy in all of that. And it's
Alchemy,
not
yeah.
about really how you look, you know, outwardly. That's too, you know, simplistic. I
Yeah.
think, you know, to me, a person who is really informed with intelligence, has incredible soulfulness, goes a long ways than just really the basic good looks. You can buy that a dime a dozen in Hollywood. There are so many good-looking people in Hollywood, but it doesn't mean that they're desirable to me. They're not.
I agree.
You know,
we go to a
I'd
lot
rather
of
have a
Hollywood.
brilliant mind any
Yeah.
day of the week. Any day of the week.
We all go to Hollywood events, and we see the girls that are
try
hopeful.
not to
They want to be
anymore.
movie stars. They have a skirt, which I call a clip cover because that's all it covers. All right? They have these artificial boobs out to here hanging out. They're all bleach blondes with eyelashes out to here. They think they're Marilyn Monroe. Now, the guys that go over to them say, oh, I make movies. And the girl goes, oh, you make movies? Ooh. He bangs her. She calls him 100 times. What movie are you making? Oh, honey, we couldn't get funded. Forget it. You know, so that's the hopefuls of Hollywood. Those girls are morons, and I tell them that when I go to these events. I say, don't dress this way. You look like a hooker. What do you want, a guy to bang you? Or you want to be
Leave everything there.
Yeah, but you know, but that's what I mean.
Where's your butler, your maid, your servant?
He's gone.
Why did you get rid of him? We have to clean up?
I'm gonna clean it. No, you're not cleaning.
No,
He's just
you're
fucking
a
busting your
star.
chops.
So
If you can
anyway.
clean up, guess what? My bathroom's need doing in Palm Springs.
You know who I really love? You know
Who?
the model Polina Poroshkova?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think she's really challenging a lot of narratives. You know Polina Poroshkova?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's on the cover of LA Times magazine, and I think she's challenging a lot of standards and like opening minds.
And she's probably
gorgeous.
about 50 or 60 now,
She's
right?
probably like in her mid to late
And
50s.
by the way, have you heard Linda Evangelista? She came up with a thing how she ruined her face.
She ruined her face?
Yeah, so
Oh,
it's
shooting
really
all that crap
public.
up.
It's really public, and she said, you know, there's so much expectations to look the way, like being an original supermodel, just to
Right.
stay the way you are.
30
So
years later.
it's like it's an interesting subject, you know, to just I think educate and grow awareness about.
Why they shoot that in their face, I will never know. I knew Joan. I dropped names, folks. That's how I got famous. I talk about my friends. It so happens my friends are not Joe Blow from Kokomo. They're all famous people. Anyway, so live with it and stop calling me names. Joan Rivers, to me, looked like a rubber doll, like a puppet. Her cheekbones were up here. Her eyes were squinted. Her lips were like, I don't know what. In person, she was a mess.
But
She looked good on
she had a
film.
big mouth. And
She was
that-
hilarious.
That compensated
No,
for that.
I spent time, I was in a, this is my favorite story. I went to see Joan Rivers breaking in her comedy act at the Hollywood store years ago in Hollywood. So it happens Debbie Reynolds was
The
there.
comedy story.
Comedy store. And we used to sit on benches, like stadium benches. And who's sitting next to me but Debbie Reynolds, who I knew through Jane Russell.
Nice.
And I said, oh, Debbie, hi, she's funny, she's funny. Then Debbie would say to me quietly, that joke sucks. Or forget that one. That one's gonna put people to sleep. So when it was over, there was a limo outside, and Debbie said, we haven't had a chance to chat. Come sit in the limo with me. Well, I get in the limo. Who's in the limo but Joan Rivers? I'm seated between Joan Rivers and Debbie
That's a
Reynolds.
funny story.
I had never heard so many the word fuck in my life. Every other word was fuck with these two broads. Debbie was hilariously funny. Joan Rivers was not funny at all. She was quite serious. I also
a lot
spent
of
time with
comedians
her.
are very
Yeah.
serious.
We did a thing in
When they're on stage, they're
Very
different.
angry.
Yeah, I agree.
No, we did a show for AIDS years ago in New York at the Manhattan Center. And I was impersonating Jane at the time in that show, and I was in the green room where Joan was. Joan sat there on a stool with paperwork. She wouldn't talk. She was very serious.
Yeah, a lot of comedians are, especially there's so much expectations.
In their
for
real
female
world, they're not
comedians.
funny at all.
Well, you know, like someone like Jim Carrey, you know, he suffered from depression and all
Yeah.
kinds of other mental illnesses, you know. And, you know, I've been told that many comedians are truly angry people.
I think if that's your only way of expressing, or yeah, it is pretty dark. You know, it's interesting being like a model, a comedian, a mom. A lot of times, like I don't have that expectation.
Yeah, you have
I
a
don't need the
different
laugh.
perspective.
No,
you know,
I
it's just a
started
great
getting
platform.
funny when I was very young
Yeah.
because I wasn't like the rest of the boys.
Yeah.
And they used to call me all horrible names. Like,
what?
how come you act like a girl? You a faggot. Ron, you're a sissy man. All that shit. And I used to beat them up because I was tough.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the straight ones knew I was gay before I knew it, but they knew it. And how many straight guys used to say, let's go upstairs. My mother's not home and we could masturbate.
Yeah.
They wanted me to go up there. These are straight guys were only 10, 11 years old, and I already was saying, this is not kosher. So I didn't go. Then I decided to be funny. The minute I became funny, they accepted me. I was no longer on the outside. And it was very sad growing up as a little boy, not being in with the crowd. That's why it's so important for me now to be in with the in people. Because it makes me feel good. Like, wow, I'm worth something. Look at the friends I have, and look at the places I go. And look, Sue Wong liked my food. Shaped like a pig.
I did. I was a little
Do you
piggy.
know Adrian
I ate
Wilkinson?
most of
A girl named
everything.
Adrian
I love this
Wilkinson?
woman.
Sounds very familiar.
She's an actress because, like, literally, Adrienne Wilkinson.
She's an Audrey Hepburn.
Because
Classy girl.
she's like you. She's very well into her appearance, and like the first time we met her, everybody was wearing the clip covers, and she wore a long dress, stunning dress with an open back, and I mean it was.
She looks like Audrey Hepburn. She has your class and style. She's built.
She's
like
the only.
that.
You're like the only two people in like Hollywood that like
The rest
young Hollywood
look
that we
like
know that don't look like
You know, I
whores.
met an amazing lady, and hopefully we can host something in my house or anywhere. She's a survivor of Holocaust, like 91 years old. Her
Wow.
story is better than Anne Frank.
What's
Who is she?
Marianne, I'll show you 1 second. If my
Is she an actress?
she was a model.
She was a model. She's 91 now.
Her story is pretty incredible.
How tall are you, Eugene?
I'm 5'9".
That's
If I can
all,
find
just
my phone,
5'9"?
5'9" and a half.
That's my daughter is the same height that you are. You look taller than
Yeah,
Leslie.
she looks 5'11".
That's in
If I
bare
can
feet.
find my phone, I can definitely
Show the
her
beautiful
story.
dress. It's a Sue Wong.
Yeah, it's
Show
a
our
silk
camera.
dress. It's a silk chiffon with this sort of psychedelic, almost Americana bandana print on it.
And it's so Malibu casual.
It is, and Eugenia wears it so well.
She wears everything well. Here we go.
Eugenia could be in a paper bag. A Wallbaum's, not a Wallbaum's, that's New York. What's our supermarkets here? Ralph's. She could wear a Ralph's paper bag and look good.
It's not true.
That's
Suwan
true.
makes me look classy.
No, that makes Sue Wong.
You know, Ron, come up with a way to end because I gotta make sure you're not gonna run out of power.
No, but I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to conclude this side. Now watch part 2, because we're going to edit it here and we're doing a part 2 of this show.
And we're also
So stay
gonna
tuned
talk-
for part 2.
You're also gonna talk to Eugenia.
And I have to charge my phone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, we're not ending. This is part 1. People
Okay.
will watch. Beautiful models.
And one of my favorites.
Eugenia Kuzmina. And she's wearing a Sue Wong dress, which is so Malibu. It's chiffon-y and cool and flowy. She's absolutely magnificently beautiful. She's an actress and she's out. She's not out. Her movies are out. She's got a, what is the film you have out?
The Elevator, among others. But I have also Spy City TV show. You know, have a few. The Gentleman by Gary Chi, but The Elevator is the one we're talking
So you're working a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm always working. You know, I think.
Do you think COVID gets in the way of your work?
Not at all. You know, I haven't been more busy during COVID. You know, I think circumstances make you more creative, and overcoming obstacles becomes more interesting, challenging, but also I've been working through the whole COVID thing. And, you know, of course, it's a little bit challenging if you do big budget movies because they have to comply with insurances and things like that, you know, and then we managed to shoot 3 films in COVID, and I went to Turkey, and you know we were tested and done everything right, and managed to finish it. I think artists have a way to survive in really hard circumstances. You know, coming from freelance, I can say that. Like, you just become more creative. Doing stand-up shows, you know, on Zoom, for example, is one of the ways we thrived in pandemic, because I think laughter is the biggest medicine. So.
She is so enchanting, you could fall in love with her. Just listening to her, she's such a lady. She has such European style and class. All you American broads out there, get rid of the ugly clothes you wear with your fat asses hanging out and your hair hanging all 50 colors all chopped up. You look like morons. This is how a woman should look. Elegant, sophisticated, and beautiful. And you might get a husband, or get rid of the husband you've got and get a better husband, maybe one with a couple of bucks. Right, Eugenia?
You're making me laugh. I forgot that you've done stand-up. I think I should bring you back to the comedy store.
Well, I am naturally funny. I don't know how to be serious. You know, it's terrible. I was in a movie where I played a mafioso, and everybody on the set was laughing. They said, Ron, you're so funny. I said, I'm supposed to be serious and a killer and a tough guy. They said, yeah, but you're funny at it. So when you're funny, you're funny. Just like she's beautiful, what can she do? Grace Kelly look-alike, for sure. And she's from Russia. And I'm going to ask her a few questions about what life was like in Russia. We all want to know. Because my friend Olga, who's Russian, escaped from Russia and now lives in California. Olga from the band Revolution. Her husband, No, and she are on the rock band Revolution.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in like post-Soviet times, you know, when the wall came down and Yeltsin, you know, became a president, and there was no more Soviet Union. So my dad was a nuclear scientist. He was the first responder to Chernobyl, and instead of growing up with the fairy tales about princesses falling in love with their, Prince Charming, I grew up with the stories from my dad about the scale of the disaster and things that they couldn't, say. And my dad was a really incredibly intelligent, kind person, scientist, and intellectual who really cared about people. And at the time they couldn't really say what was happening. So I think it really touched me and inspired me to work really hard on behalf of humanity in so many ways. And also, I can relate to Sue Wong, like I heard her interview before.
How'd you meet her? How'd you meet Sue?
Magic.
Magic for all of us.
Yes. I think it was meant to happen. A lot of Russians are fatalists. They believe in fate. But I think I ran into Sue's designs and I was really enchanted by her magical, skills, elegance, beauty, intelligence, magic. I think she really portrays every woman as a goddess, and there's so much storytelling, there's so much more to just what you see that goes beyond that. And I think every woman who wears her dress really feels that. And that
Well, everybody out there should really not eat a lot and get thin. Americans are the fattest people in the world. If you go to Europe, France, Italy, Spain, the women are skinny. They eat a big lunch and hardly anything for dinner. Sue Wong's gowns are magnificent, but if you're 300 pounds, you ain't gonna look so hot. First of all, there's no dress that big. You'd have to go to Omar the tent maker to get that gown right. But Sue Wong, what's the biggest size you have, Sue?
Size 12.
A size 12. How many of you out there are a size 12? Maybe when you were 13, but not now. So lose weight, get healthy, think positive, life is good. She'll tell you how good life is. Tell them how good life is.
Well, growing up in fashion business, I think beauty is really objective,
Yeah.
in a way I would say. So I think as long as you're really healthy and doing self-love and taking care of yourself, you look the best that you can. I think we all come in different sizes and shapes, but I think it's really important to come from like self-love and acceptance in that way, and that's what beauty is for me.
Well, also overweight is not healthy. Young men today have said to me, oh, I won't go out with a heavy-set woman because she's not healthy. She won't give me good children, or she's going to be a medical expense. And I look at her teeth. If she has bad teeth, I'm not spending $80,000 to throw screw-ins or caps. So men today are very particular. They all want Eugenia Kuzmina to be their brides or girlfriends. Unfortunately, not everybody's born as magnificent as she is. Or maybe Sue Wong. But Sue Wong is more like a Rolls Royce. Eugenia is like a Tesla.
Oh no,
She's
I
gas-free.
She's a Ferrari.
I'm
She's a
ex
Ferrari.
Porsche.
No,
I like vintage cars. Let's just.
I
say
drive an
that.
04 Audi TT Roadster, the best one they made, the custom, and it's a convertible, and I've had it since 04. It's called Baby, and Baby stays in the garage, and I drive Baby out once a week. Jane Russell was in that car. Mr. Blackwell was in that car. Debbie Reynolds was in that car. My God, that car is so famous with the people who've been in it. I could never get rid of it. Never.
Talking about cars, I have a new job. I became a car racer.
A what?
On the side. I race cars.
Wow.
You a car race? You drive
Yes.
a car?
So I work with Optima Battery and Mercedes, and we just finished our first race with a lot of guys, and it was a blast. And I'm going
Oh, I bet
to
the guys
race
were
another
trying
car.
to follow you.
I know, I made it through, some people didn't, but I completely finished the race and going next on October 7th to do another race.
I hope you don't race. It's dangerous.
Life is...
No, I wouldn't want anything to happen to you. I'd be very upset.
I'm pretty good, I think I...
You shouldn't
I'm a
race.
Capricorn.
You shouldn't. I'm gonna be like your father. My daughters were never allowed to go on motorcycles.
I just got my motorcycle license as well.
No, I said to the most casualties and disfigurements have been done on motorcycles.
Of course, no.
And I told my children, you're not allowed.
Of course. I have to...
And I'm going to tell you
Eugenia,
now.
go to Neptune's net on a weekend.
Off camera, so what?
know,
So get in the
camera.
camera, come in.
Okay.
Don't be off camera.
I was gonna say to Eugenia.
Wait, before you go any further, where's my dessert? I heard all about this tart you've got.
We're you
I
know,
have to
saving
move it-
that
you have to
until
move it
tomorrow
a little
Oh, I thought you
because,
were the tart.
well, I am the tart, and you are too. But we're having dinner at
That's good.
Joffrey's in about 2 hours, so I didn't really want to ruin our appetite. But I was going to say to Eugenia, go to Neptune's Net on your new motorcycle, because that's where all the bikers congregate up here in Los Angeles. They look like Hell's Angels, you know, with their gear and their leather and their chaps and everything else, but they're attorneys and, you know, they're lawyers and teachers and, you know, accountants, you know. But there's a big scene here in Malibu, right on the highway near the county line.
I heard about it, and I know one of them is Keanu Reeves, because I usually go training for my films with Darren Tactical, who trained him for the Matrix
Right.
movies, and I know they ride motorcycles in Malibu all the time.
Oh, they do. They come
Well,
through Mulholland.
Just don't you
know.
ride a motorcycle. And if you do, ride it in
Only
your
for
driveway.
film. Only for the film,
Only for the film. Okay, well then they put wheels on it so you don't tip
or
over.
for the race.
Yeah, they fix it.
But,
No,
but
seriously.
there's a whole culture behind that.
It's a beautiful culture, you know.
Yeah, they're mostly homosexuals that want to be butch men. No, it's true. Bikers, I know many bikers, and they have the girlfriend and they act real butch, but when a gay guy is around, they drop their pants so fast.
Well, that's basically those are motorcycle girls, and you can find a lot
No,
of them.
they're
in
not
those
girls, they're
videos.
men. They
I-
have
I-
beards,
I
they're
know.
big burly guys with tattoos. They look like they could kill you, like Popeye.
Yeah, but they're still girls when they
No,
open their mouths and talk.
No,
They
I
sound
read
like
once,
girls.
a psychiatrist said a motorcycle is a man's penis. It's the extension of his penis. So I never had to drive a
So-
motorcycle
so
because
the
I never
fast
needed
car.
an extension.
What do you think a red Ferrari is on the road? You know, that's
Well, I
an
drive a
extension
yellow
of the
Audi convertible, so what does that say? It says I like Chinese women because I'm a yellow Audi.
Oh my God.
Chinese, you're not yellow. How could they say that Asian people are yellow? You're tan like me. I meant to ask you that. A lot of Asian. Why do they call them yellow? Do you ever see a yellow Chinaman?
I never see people according to any colors or shapes.
No, but you must see that. I mean, they say
I agree
yellow.
with you. I look
Where's,
at their.
where's the yellow?
I don't look at their skin color. I don't really care what they believe in religiously. I look at the quality of their souls.
Well, I said that to Cece Pennington. Finally, I love Cece. And Cece said something, well, I'm a black woman. And, you know, I said to her, you know what, Cece, I never really noticed. And I never really did notice because Cece is absolutely gorgeous. You know who she is?
Of course.
She's a dear friend of mine. She's coming to our house next week for dinner. Anyway, she is so beautiful in person. What a beautiful girl. And I never really saw her as black.
Well, because I think who a person is, you know, is far beyond the color of their skin or the religion that they believe in. It's really the quality of their soul. That's what really makes a difference, you know?
I love that.
Well, good people go far. Bad people think they go far. 81 years old, I've seen a lot of bad people. They didn't make it. And the end was not good. They paid their dues. Don't think for 1 minute you get away with anything, right? You pay for what, if you do bad, you're going to pay for it.
Well, there's the law of basic
It's
karma.
called karma.
It's karma. You know,
You believe in karma?
Well, can I curse?
Can you cook?
Curse.
curse.
Sure you can curse.
Karma is a bitch.
Yes.
Bitch is not a curse when you say fuck. Fuck is a curse. Bitch is an endearment where I come from.
I call it Carmageddon. You know, basically, karma never forgets an address. So if you're gonna do, you know, crap by some people, you're gonna pay the price for sure.
And I believe in poison in oneself. If you are poisonous and you are doing poisonous deeds and you are poisoning good people, you're actually poisoning yourself.
Of course.
It's like saying, I hate you, and you
Absolutely.
hold that
Absolutely.
grudge. So hate is a wasted emotion.
Yeah, holding on to hatred
I have no
and,
hate.
and
You have hate,
contempt.
you?
Well, talking about
And you
know,
hate the
an
Russians?
interest-
You hate the communists?
No, talking about an interesting time in our life, especially in this country, everything is so polarized. There is no like right or wrong, and a lot of times we take it out on the other people who have different beliefs than us, right? But I think I do believe in emotion, and every time I wake up, I am grateful, and then I make decisions, and I always check: do I do this action out of love or fear? And that's
You're a
the
smart
question I
blonde.
ask.
You're a beauty and a smarty. You're no dumb
Yeah,
bitch.
and I think
You're not a dummy. You're
It's always
built like
important
hell.
to
You're
make-
gorgeous and built like a brick shit house, but you're not dumb by
and
any means.
also,
But that's the only true kind of beauty as far as I'm concerned.
No, she's got. I wish I was straight and young. I'd take you away from your husband. I'd be an adulterer because I would be married to having an affair with you. Am I not Italian?
And I would not put up with that for 1 second.
I'm so Italian, it's terrible. That's like the typical Italian marriage.
Yes, well, they say Italians are great to have an affair with, but
No, Italian
beware of
men.
marrying them.
Yeah, Italian men can't keep it in their pants. They think there's nothing wrong with screwing their wife's best friend. They say she's nice, she's a friend. I was just being cordial.
you know, it works for everybody. That works. That's what I would say.
How about Russian men? Give us a clue on what Russian men are like.
You mean Putin?
Huh?
No comment.
No, not him. Like a gorgeous 30-year-old, handsome, stunning, model-looking Russian fellow. What's his values?
Well, you know, I left Russia such a long time ago. It's a fascinating country with such a rich history. And I love that, you know, the poets, the writers, they're just fascinating if you read it. It's so
Absolutely.
deep and
They are very, very much a deep people and deep thinkers, you know.
yeah, very dramatic. You know, I think for women to make it in that kind of culture, it's a little bit hard. So I always wanted to be independent, and that's why I wanted to travel the world and kind of get out of like one kind of cultural cliche. You know, I didn't want just to be married and have kids. I wanted to have.
Are you pleased with yourself here? Are you happy being here?
How can I not be
I was
happy?
able
you
to
know,
achieve the great American dream. You
How
know,
about you? Did you achieve the great American dream yet? What do you want to do in the future? Where is Eugenia going to be 10 years from now?
you know, it was giving back. I mean, coming as well from communism is, you know, growing up. on
Did you
food
find
lines.
Russia to be as Sue explained?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. You know, plus my dad worked for the government and I saw the corruption and, you know, what goes into that.
Because did you come from a communist background?
Yes, yes. So it was
So you were raised like I
communism.
was raised, communist.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny because when I went to school, we were taught you can't color outside the lines, you know, for an artist, it's really hard. So I remember one of the first things I did, I took out uniform and I cut it into a bikini because it was really hard to buy. And then I had to apologize to the whole school for disrespecting the Russian government, but I saw that it would pass. So
I love rebels, and
Is
you're
that
a total
Is that
rebel.
funny?
yes, and I was punished with, you know, by teachers beating me with rulers
No,
because
you're
I
kidding.
mispronounced or did something about the history books because I knew they were written as history for a
Right.
specific reason.
Well,
We only
you and
had-
Angelina Jolie would get along fine. She's another rebel like you, and she didn't do it at school.
Yeah, so you know, I had to be homeschooled after that. But
But do people fear for their lives, as I'm told?
Yes.
That they would put you against a wall and shoot you if you were gay or whatever?
In China, they did.
yeah, of course, you know, there is no freedom. A lot of my dad's friends, they were put in prison for writing liberal poetry and being artists and being outside of the lines. So, you know, that's why my dream was to escape somehow, like really fast. Even though it was changing, it was post-Soviet time, it was wild, wild west because, you know, our culture is so rooted into like tsars and, you know, like a different regime, which is more patriarchal and, you know, they can't survive with democracy. So I don't think there is democracy yet.
She's so smart and so beautiful. It's amazing.
Well, to
God
me,
gave you all of it, sister.
Well, to me, that's what real beauty is, because, you know, beauty that is not informed with intelligence is very superficial.
Why, I'm beautiful and I'm a little dumb.
Are you saying you're shallow?
No, I'm not shallow. I'm just a little dumb at times. Not really. I'm shrewd. I was raised in the streets. And I have a saying, I check all the corners before I enter a room. And I have street smarts, which you can't buy in a book. You can't educate that. I'm very clever. I know people when they're full of crap. I know what they're doing. I play stupid, but I play stupid. The Russian people are not stupid.
Yeah, you know, I think our circumstances growing up with nothing and scarcity just teaches you to be creative and to think for yourself and have a critical thinking.
Absolutely.
One of my most inspiring director friends is Mike Judge, who started as a classical musician and then directed this film called Idiocracy. If you ever watch it, I would encourage anybody of now generation to watch it. He kind of predicted what's happening in this culture in this day. When you're in a service culture, when everything is provided to you, you're not really encouraged to think outside the box. So I'm actually really grateful for a circumstance that I grew up, because it challenged me to, to think for myself and to grow more. And I hope my kids will do the same.
Well, listen, children, like the old say, the apple doesn't fall far. I raised both my children. So my children are not Dutch, they're all Italian in thinking, and they're warm, and they're funny, and they have all of my honest to goodness thinking. If you are the stronger parent, your children will be like you. If your husband is the stronger parent, they will be like him.
Yes.
So make sure you don't have your husband around too much when you're raising your kids.
No, he's great. I love my husband.
Is he a good father?
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
He plays with his son and daughter, and he...
Oh yes, yeah. He absolutely tells them to read books. If you ever, house, I hope you will be. We collect books. One of few families now who read.
Nobody reads. I read all my life. We didn't have television. I was born before TV, folks.
Yeah. So and also like appreciating art and expressing yourself. And he always tells my daughter like you're more than just your looks. Like he wants her to develop different skills.
Then we thought that. Every movie you see, if you wanted to have a villainous woman, the woman is a villain, she put a cigarette in her mouth. And if she was like Olivia de Havilland, a good one, never smoked.
Yeah, I think, cigarettes and cocktails, that was really de rigueur back in
Yeah, but it also made a
30s,
wicked woman.
40s, and 50s, and, I wouldn't judge, anybody by, smoking a cigarette. I think it just really depends on what's up here.
No, I think a person that smokes is retarded. In my opinion, because you're pumping garbage, toxic fumes into a lung that will eventually turn black. Now, I have a very dear friend who I won't mention, but you know her very well. You know who I'm talking about.
Who?
The one with the big tits.
There are so many of that in
Well,
Hollywood.
no, this
and
one's
they're all
got...
store bought.
No, this one, hers are real. She does the vapor.
Yeah.
That can cause what they call a popcorn lungs.
I'm
It
sure.
is far worse than a cigarette, so please don't smoke vapor. Those, I think they're called vapor cigarette, whatever they are.
I don't know. I think I look the way I do at my age, and I'm at least 2.5 times the age of Eugenia, because I've never smoked. I've never done hardcore drugs. I've experimented in my youth because I'm a child of the psychedelic era when I came of age. I was never, into booze. I was never into, indiscriminate sex or anything, which, by the way, takes your energy away if you're...
Oh, but what a wonderful way to lose your energy.
Well, no, it's not that. I understand what it's really like when you...
What's it like making love to a Chinese lady?
No.
I have never made love to a Chinese lady.
Well, you're going off subject. Let me finish my subject first, okay?
Oh, she's avoiding this. And
No,
everybody
I mean-
out there is saying, Sue, answer him, Sue, answer him.
Well, some men have gotten yellow fever.
Bullshit.
So anyway,
Yellow fever.
I always, I'm very careful about sexual energy and who I merge my force field with, because you do come to a merging, of the force fields. And if you really merge your energy field with somebody who is unresolved or has all these issues and they're not clean in their energy, it's going to affect you, So that really makes you lose life force. So I'd rather really exchange energy that way with somebody that I really care about.
Well, love in itself is the greatest energy in the world. As you all out there know, when you meet someone and you love them on sight, oh my God, you see colors are brighter, perfume smells better. You cannot wait to see that person. You count the hours. Oh my God, in 3 hours I'm going to be with him or her. That's love. What greater energy than that?
Okay.
You feel that way about me?
It's nice
Do you
work.
feel that way? Do you feel that way about me?
Oh, I love you, Vaughn. But you're a married man, so.
Oh, but I could undo that.
And you're gay, so
Oh, I could undo that too.
but I mean,
I'm
it's,
bisexual. There's two people inside of me. I'm Gemini.
but it's nice work if you can get
Yeah, I
it.
got 2 kids. I wasn't exactly impotent.
So in the meantime, at this right age in life, I have not met the great love of my life. I
Yes, you have. You're just too stupid to see it. I love this woman.
Oh, but it's so difficult to really meet somebody, a person who's
Because your
enlightened.
standards are very high.
My standards are very high, and
I
that's
mean,
why
let
I've
me
been
put it this
alone
way.
for
Can I be
14
very
years.
frank and blunt?
Yes.
Which is something I am. Any man that would marry you has to be a wimp.
No.
Oh, yes.
No.
You and I would never get along as husband and wife because I'd be telling you what to do, you'd be telling me what to do, we'd be killing each other.
and we'd be killing each other.
Right.
No.
And I would never accept your money. If you said to me, darling, I'm going to buy you a Rolls Royce, I'd say, no, honey, I'll buy my own. I don't need you to buy me. I'm not being kept by my wife.
No, I
You
am.
would be with a wimpy man who would say, yes, dear, yes,
Sweetheart,
dear. Don't you agree with that?
I've been that, done that. No,
You would never have a
absolutely
man
not.
with balls would never marry you.
No,
You know what I think?
no. I think you're totally wrong. You're totally wrong.
I think, I live in John Lennon's house where he wrote Imagine, and like him and Yoko for me is such an amazing couple because they're both artists and they complement each other.
Who is this?
John Lennon and
Oh,
Yoko Ono.
John and
You
Yoko.
know, so
Yes.
they're definitely couples which I think
At the
I would
Dakota?
see. I'm sorry?
The Dakota in New York?
No, I live in his house in LA.
Oh,
where
it
he
was
wrote-
there.
Yes.
Yes.
It was his house.
I
where-
definitely would not want to wimp. You got it all wrong, sweetheart.
Yeah.
No
I-
tough guy
no.
would go with you in a minute. He'd knock the shit out of you.
No,
He'd have to knock
no,
you
no.
out.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm looking for my equal, if
Yeah.
not my superior.
The only equal you have is
I-
Donald Trump or Biden.
No.
You need a president with
Forget
money.
Biden, okay?
Well, you need a
And
president.
Trump is married, and
A
he's
man
not my
hasn't
type
been born
anyway.
yet. A man hasn't been born yet to keep up with you. First of all, no, seriously. You're worth more than $3, okay? So the guy has to have $6. Because if he's going to be with you, like tonight, you're taking me to dinner. Am I upset about it? You bet your buns I am.
You shouldn't be. You're my
I'm
friend.
Italian.
You're
Italian
my friend.
men.
Hello.
No, bullshit. Italian men were raised, a woman never picks up a check.
You know what I did? I went with my husband and his boss from Qatar to dinner, and I went with 3 guys and they picked up their check with my acting money. And I
Good
thought
for
they would
you.
be very upset. And
Yes.
my husband was very concerned, but
They
actually,
were upset. They were very
They weren't
insulted.
upset.
They didn't say anything.
No.
In private, they said, "Who the hell was that bitch paying for our meal?"
I don't think so. I think they were actually happy. So his boss took us second time for dinner next day.
Well, maybe because you're rich, they figured you can afford it. But listen, I could be down to $10, and I'll say to Sue Wong, "I'll take you to dinner. We're going to McDonald's." How far does 10? Don't laugh! Don't laugh! Don't laugh! That's our next dinner date. How far can we go on $10? But I'm paying. And if Sue said, "Oh, I just bought McDonald's, you can have it free," I'd say, "No, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I don't want." That's a real man. A real man does not let a woman run his life. I may
Can I
be
tell
gay,
you
but I'm no
something?
But
faggot.
you know what? A real woman would not allow a man to run her life.
No,
either.
I didn't say the man would, but the man shouldn't always be with the hand out.
Been there,
Honey,
done that.
I need 3 or 4 suits. Let's go shopping.
Been there,
Can
done
I
that.
say something? I think each of us, like you, for example, like you have masculine and feminine side. You would never been able to create such an amazing empire, without having a masculine side.
Absolutely.
Because that's what it entails.
I have a
to be
very strong
successful.
masculine side, but a Buddhist monk once told me, he said I had a really great balance of the feminine and the masculine.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to pick up the checks.
Because the feminine comes out in my work.
Absolutely.
Look
yeah.
at the gowns that I create.
sure.
They're quintessentially, essentially feminine.
And I
And
think
they
it's
honor
an
the goddess.
inspiration, I think you connect to people more on an energetic level where you see somebody who can integrate those
Right.
sides, right?
Right.
And who's like balanced and not overwhelmed by one side
Yes.
or another.
But in my external world and my work and my persona out in the world, I definitely am a yang warrior.
Yeah.
And in
Well,
my, you know, like
I'm-
core,
when
I'm
I'm-
very feminine.
When I'm a man, I'm all man, and when I'm a woman, I'm all woman because I portrayed. No, I put. No, I had. Do you know how hard it was for me to train to be a woman? I'm a very big man. I used every trick in the book, and you saw how beautiful I was. In fact, when people would come backstage to meet me, because I never played gay bars, I played straight nightclubs in those days. They would say to me, "Oh, where's Ron Russell?" I'd say, "I'm Ron Russell," and they tap me. They said, "Where are your boobs?" I had an iron corset that pushed my pecs up to enormous cleavage. So I had boobs before anybody else. And they couldn't get over it. They said, "Yeah, but you're very tall. She's not your height." I said, "Honey, I am him, her." They couldn't believe it. "Well, you're so manly." I said, "It's called acting. I never thought I was a woman. I never wanted to be with a woman. When I got in the shower, I looked down at the jewels and I said, 'Hi, boys and girls. So nice to see you.'" No, I did. I said, "So good to see you again." Because I was a woman. Supper, the dinner show was at 8, drink show at 11. I worked Friday and Saturday in nightclubs. I was a woman for so many hours and I hated it. I said, "How do women live in these friggin' high heels?" My fishnets itched me, the wig drove me crazy. The eyelashes I couldn't see, I used to fall down. I said, "How do women do this?" And I gained a great respect for women because I realized how much a woman has to go through to become a woman.
It's a lot of work.
A man, it's easy. We jump out of a shower and we go commando. We don't even put underwear on. We just put slacks on and a t-shirt and we're gorgeous and sexy and we smell good. And a woman is there for hours and hours and hours. It's a lot of work being a woman. I don't want to be a woman.
I minimize it as much as I can.
Well, you're naturally stunning, so I know you just.
Well, what do you need to do? You put on makeup. What do you put on? You put on lipstick, eyebrow
No,
pencil?
I do foundation. I do a little
Oh
bit
my
of
God,
pat
such
down.
work.
I
What
do a little bit of
Nothing.
rouge
You
and
put
lipstick,
little lip stain.
and that's it.
Oh,
You have
well,
mascara?
It depends if Sue.
No, I like you the way you are.
Yeah, it depends if Sue, whatever she wants to portray. I think it's a beauty to play with makeup. I think it's a
It's a
great
fantasy.
tool to
Yeah.
create something.
Yeah, look what it did
And
for me.
that's-
Converted me from a man to a beautiful woman.
I think we're all very judgmental creatures from the first instinct, so I think it's really interesting to play with the first impression. You know, whatever you portray, if you're intelligent, obviously it's a huge power, you know, to be dressed a certain way and to put a certain, you know, magic and dreams, and that's why Hollywood is so interesting because it's an illusion in a way.
Well, that's what glamour to me
Yeah,
is.
glamour is an illusion.
Glamour is an
It's
illusion. Yeah.
I was glamorous. I worked at Town and Country Club in Brooklyn, one of the most exquisite, beautiful nightclub restaurants. And one of the wise guys, a lot of Brooklyn Guineas used to come mafia people who I knew, and mostly Jewish. My audiences were Jewish and Italian because of my humor. And one of the guys came backstage and he said to me, "Can I drive you home?" Here I'm in drag. I said, "Why do you want to drive me home?" He said, "Well, you look like a beautiful Italian woman." I said, "But I'm not. I'm a handsome Italian man." So he said to me, "Well, you know, maybe." I said, "No." I said, "If you grab my crotch, you're going to be very unhappy because it's far larger than anything you've got." And he just looked at me. He said, "Oh, you're a bitch too." I said, "Absolutely. A total
That's
bitch."
funny.
Oh, yeah.
That's really funny.
And that's a true story.
I love that.
So you see, men see a drag queen and they don't mind. They think in their fantasy. They see glamour. Drag queens are glamorous.
Yeah. I
And when
agree.
they see it, they go for it.
And Hollywood used to be glamorous, but I don't really find today's Hollywood to be all that.
No.
You know, I think we were born in the wrong era. We should have been born in the 20s, 30s.
No, then I'd be
40s.
180.
Would you
No.
consider like mentoring some of the young generation like now, like who is not maybe? I agree with you. Like my kids, you know, they don't know the style. And I
Teach them.
think,
It's up to you to teach them.
yeah,
But you would be a great teacher because you are glamorous.
yeah. I
But
would
you know
like
what? A
to
lot of
try.
times kids go against their mother. I know we'll talk later, very well-known movie star who's extremely glamorous, and her daughter is a wreck. Her daughter is a total mess. I mean, fat, ripped jeans, tattoos, nose rings. Oh, what a mess. And I said to her, "How come your daughter didn't take after you?" She said she went the opposite. She fights with me and said, "I don't want to look like you. I don't want to be you. I want to be me." Well, that's me. That's the daughter, this freaky looking thing.
That's the new, the new order, the new order of the world in Hollywood or amongst the youth.
Well, you don't get the kids you want sometimes. You raise the kids you want.
I believe there's something about organic beauty, like being in this house. By the way, thank you so much for your generosity.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
I'm so honored to have you
can just
here.
see it's so organic and it's all about
You've
energy.
never been here?
No, I've been here many
Oh,
times.
sure.
Yeah.
So you're used to it.
But I just admire this place so much because
It's okay if you like this period of furniture. I don't.
Well,
I love the other ones. That one called the Cedars. I'm nuts about the Cedars.
But see, like I said, if you really want to be a great artist, you have to
Yeah, but
really
Sue,
embrace.
this is
you
a-
have to, let me finish. You have to embrace all styles. I like it all because I love the art of everything. So I can really go from piss elegant, Japanese minimalism to Bauhaus style to mid-century style, which a lot of the iconic pieces are from the 50s and 60s, because it complements my modern art collection, to the classicism of the Cedars, which incorporates Art Deco, French Art Deco, Rococo style,
I love Rococo.
as well as Spanish, 1920s Spanish to 1920s Moroccan style, which is what I did the Jimi Hendrix room in. And by the way, now I'm going to be doing a Moroccan palace, which is going to be all, like the Jimmy room.
Wow.
So it's going to be fabulous, and it's going to be in Los Feliz. I'm doing a 10,300 square foot palace right now.
wow, that's incredible. I think anybody who's ever in your house just feels this incredible energy. You just are. You arrived.
Yes, and then in my tropical home in Hawaii, everything is tropical style. It's Javanese, Balinese, Hawaiian, and like I designed all the beautiful outdoor gardens, which is
The gardens I love.
6.5 acres of magnificent gardens.
Yeah, your gardens are beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like the Garden of Eden. That I have to give you credit.
Well, I
but
designed
this
all the-
furniture here, to me, is ugly and very uncomfortable.
No,
I love it.
It's weird. It's weird stuff.
No, I think
Look,
it's
the
not-
Jetsons. Know the Jetsons? That's what it looks like. Jetson furniture.
No, it's-
this is
it's-
the most comfortable thing in the house. This
It's
sofa.
high style, darling. You have to understand
Well,
style.
not my style. I'm being honest.
Well, it's okay.
You can come to my house and say it looks like shit too. I don't care.
You're entitled to your style, but
No,
this
you,
is
you probably will hate my house.
but this is called art style, and I think it's a perfect environment to showcase my modern art collection. What do you think, Eugenia?
Yeah, I love it. I love the minimalistic feel of it because you're in Malibu and nature is just so giving, so you don't need a lot of.
Oh, and I
But
designed all the gardens
if I had
too.
this house, I would do it East Hampton. White pickled floor, white chiffon curtains blowing out the window, all white furniture with splashes of blue.
See,
Have
but
you ever
that-
been to the Hamptons, East Hampton?
That's not my style.
No, it's my
whatsoever.
style. I'm talking about my
Yeah.
style. I don't want to hit her. Yeah, have you ever been to East Hampton?
I have friends that have invited me. I'm not.
Oh,
know,
you got to come out to the
But
Hamptons.
I'm not into Hamptons.
Oh, I love
I
it.
think Sue has a very unique vision.
Have you ever been
that's
to the
why-
Hamptons?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I
many
love
times.
the Hamptons. Oh.
No, I do have a very unique style.
Yeah.
This is very magazine. I must tell you,
It's-
it's done well.
It's very, very artistic style. It's art style.
Yeah.
And
Magazine.
and I'm all about, I don't care whether it's magazine
I
or
love
not, it's art style.
I-
And
You should come to our house. Our house actually has like some elements of it, a lot of very eclectic furniture. So I think you would hate my house.
Good,
But I-
yeah.
but- but I
I
would love
love
it.
my house because
I would love it.
my house, when you walk in, you think it's Ralph Lauren's house.
Okay.
It's very Ralph Lauren. My furniture is old, beautifully done, and the colors of the wall. I just did the walls aubergine, which is almost that color, but not quite so purple. Looks stunning. Do you see my aubergine walls?
But I like Ralph Lauren and traditional style as long as it's got a artistic twist to it.
Well, that's what I have.
Everything I do has to have an artistic twist, and it has to be the highest level of that genre.
Yeah, I can
Yes,
see
I have
the
antique.
quality
I
of
have antique
everything.
Art Deco pieces. I have. I love Art Deco, and I love it mixed with. I love Egyptian. Love Egyptian. If I had Jimmy thinks I'm nuts. I said, let's do the whole living room in Egyptian. I said, I want like a sarcophagus, and I want everything Egyptian. I could live in it because I lived in Egypt when I was born a million years ago. Do you believe in reincarnation?
I do believe in
You believe in
reincarnation.
reincarnation?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I believe
I
in
was in Egypt.
reincarnation. I'll tell you why I believe in reincarnation, because I am what I would call a creative intuitive, which means that I automatically have a high understanding of many things without really the academic studying of it from any university or learning institution. And I, create everything from my spirit and from my heart and from my soul. So I feel that I've been an artist many, many times in past incarnations, and that's why everything that is the visual arts come very, very easily for me. I don't have to struggle. I don't have to, I automatically understand. By the way, Eugenia, I designed this house in one evening.
Wow, that's an incredible
Yeah,
story.
all the furnishings that you saw, I knew exactly
You
where
saw
I
it
was.
with your third eye.
Yes, and do you know that I have a physical third eye right here?
It's been winking at me all day.
Yes, you better be careful or it will kick your ass. Because I am a witch,
So, I'm a warlock, ask Jimmy. I know what happens in the future.
Yeah, so
Many a
anyway.
time I've predicted the future.
So everything I do really comes from my third eye,
I agree. A lot of times they say like artists, they don't come from their head, right? You just tap into a universe.
It comes it comes from your intuition.
Yeah.
Your
absolutely.
intuition is your inner knowledge that you really have carried with you for many lifetimes.
Yeah.
It's a soul knowledge,
Sure.
and so you just have to recognize it.
Absolutely.
And I've always had this ability.
Also, it's inherited. My father was an incredible artist. When my father worked for the Lower East Tri-Borough of New York City, he designed all of this, the background, the sets. And my father would work with the artists, painting mountains and whatever. He designed the furniture, the sets on the stage. Now, I'm his son. I was an interior designer, supreme. My friends out there will tell you that knew me. And I paint. I'm an artist. I can paint this room and you'd think you were in it. And it's natural to me. I never took a lesson. I don't have to think about it. I look and my hand does it. So I understand what you're saying.
Well,
was anybody in your family an artist?
No, not at all.
You sure?
Positive. Just maybe my younger brother, who unfortunately had a very uneventful death when he was right before his 21st birthday, but everybody else, no.
Have you any
I'm
paint?
the
Did you
only one.
paint?
I always painted, yeah. I even actually sold my paintings just by accident, A few people in the Hamptons.
I love the Hamptons. I love the Hamptons. I miss the Hamptons.
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't matter what you do. I think, if you have a creative feel for something, you can always, express it. And it
But
comes
did you
from
study
fire.
painting or it just came natural? That's the question.
I do everything like
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous is the most important thing.
Yes.
My dad said like time doesn't exist, and I grew Joseph Campbell as well. Meditation is so important.
Yeah,
If
I
you're in
love
a
Joseph
present
Campbell, by
moment,
the way.
Absolutely.
you're
I
not
write
in your
about
head.
Est all the time.
Yeah, you can be in your heart and your head at the same time. That's what I learned from acting,
Yeah.
right? So you have to kind of trust.
Did
that
you ever
you're-
go for, when Est was popular, were you a member of Est?
I was not. I was
I
not.
was.
I was not into the metaphysics or the intuitive arts at that point in my life. I was
But
too
Est
young.
made a lot of sense, and it definitely built in you a feeling of accomplishment. You felt that you could accomplish anything. It was wonderful, not egotistically, but intelligently.
Well, that was a very.
I loved Est.
That was a very popular movement.
Yeah, it was part of that.
in the 70s. But I find that all spiritual movements, just like all great religions of this earth, they really just teach us about enlightenment and consciousness, and that's what it really what it's all about at the end of the day, is to teach us to be more aware and more conscious as human beings.
Eugenia, my dear, my beautiful little sweet friend, what have you got to tell the people, because we're going to sign off now, part 2 is about done, folks. There'll be a part 3 soon. We're going to do this again. What have you got to tell people out there? What's the word that you want to spread?
Abundance And being in Simon's house, I can definitely feel this energy, you know, creativity, uniqueness, brilliance, and I think, I know that you got it there, you know, it all comes from the higher good. Just be kind and give back and be humble.
That's it. That's what, and
Amen.
that's everything you are. What about
Amen.
you, Susie, baby?
Well, you know, I'm all about consciousness and enlightenment. Abundance is really tapping into the universe and understanding the infinite potentiality that is given to us or that is available to us as human beings, and we just need to really believe in ourselves enough that we deserve it and that we tap into it, and it's all ours for the asking.
And my thing is very simple. Think and be positive in everything.
Absolutely.
The moment negativity comes into your life, you're over, baby. You're finished. If you think you can't get that job, don't think that way. Think you're going to get that job. If you have an illness, don't think you're going to die from it. Will it away. You can't will away illness, just like you can bring illness on by being negative. Oh, I don't feel good. Oh, I got a pain. Oh, I think I got cancer. Oh, sure, keep calling cancer. It's going to come. Be positive. Be positive. Be positive.
Okay, I have one thing to add to that, and there are three very, very pivotal words. It's called think, act, and become. Your thoughts and your words, your thought forms are energy. What you think and what you feel is going to really manifest your destiny. So you have to be careful of what you think. Think positive.
Because you might get what you wish for.
Yes, think, and then you have to be prepared for it, because
That's right.
a lot of people get what they want or wish for, but they're not
They
prepared.
can't
for
handle it, so they fall
Yes.
apart. Again,
Happens all the time in Hollywood.
Eugenia has found her positivity, has given her talent, and brought her to where she is today as Sue. Had I believed what I was told, my mother was a silent movie actress at 10, 11 years old. And I said, Ma, I want to be an actor. You know what she said to me? Oh yeah, right. Hollywood's just waiting for you. Go to work in Con Edison. You retire at 45 and you get benefits. Con Edison in New York are the street diggers that dig holes for the pipes. That's what my mother wished for me. I should be a pipe digger in New York. Did she have high aspirations for her son? Anyway, I love all of you out there.
We love you. Mwah.
And
Thank
say
you.
goodbye. And my guests are wonderful, wonderful people. And I'm so happy that you're going to enjoy this. And there will be a third. We're going to work on it. Maybe we'll go from Sue's mansion. That you got to see. That's an eyeball full. Anyway, folks, take care. God bless. Stay safe. Think positive. Goodbye
Peace
from
and
Ron
love.
Russell. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jim, cut it.
Oh my God.
That's a wonderful interview.
Yeah?
No,
Three
when did it?
hours? What? I
What?
feel like I'm on
Yeah,
mushrooms.
you're going to have 5 shows from this.
I know.
No, when